Hello,
welcome to
back
Warhammer.
Hello and welcome to...
No, stop it. Stop.
Why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this? I can't believe you've done this.
Hello and welcome to Lorehammer. I'm Eric.
My name is Mark. Joining us today is Christian and
James.
Thank you so much for joining us, boys.
Boys.
I'm just angry today. Why? I don't know.
I heard a goddamn rumor. Right? Is that it? You're just angry all the time?
Yep.
I woke up angry 4 years ago and haven't been the same since.
I mean, that happens to coincide with marriage quite nicely. Maybe marriages just make me angry. That went dark real
Don't
fast.
tell your wife.
That's fine. She knows. We have the yelling matches all the time.
Oh.
I'm not playing Christian anymore. That's just waves.
Oh, that was you being Christian.
Yeah, it was for a while. Then it morphed into me
Confession.
being me.
Yourself.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
So no one can really know if he was telling the truth or not.
It's ambiguous.
Well, we should probably actually do podcast things at some point.
We are. This is what people want to listen to. It's atrocious.
Nobody should want to listen to this.
You should do an episode where it just rambles forever. It never gets to any
As a
40K
joke?
content. Yeah. But like it's titled something 40K.
Yeah, no.
But you never
it's
actually
titled
bring
like
it up
Necron
once.
weaponry or something.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
not once.
So they skip like the first 2
we have
minutes
to definitely
always.
do like the most popular content. Like,
like Blood Angels.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
people would be like, come on.
I've been waiting years.
Skipping ahead.
So they skip and they're like, when do they actually do it? So they start skipping by larger increments until they skip by like 20 minutes at a time, and then it's just what a mess.
And it's like a 3-hour one. You
Yeah.
do like an extended, like,
It
what?
doesn't end.
And then they kind of go back. It's like, did I miss it?
Yeah. Was there a 5-minute period where they talked about Space Marines?
Well, for all those who support us, we're going to read our Imperial Tithe real quick.
Yes. People who have joined us in our journey.
Yeah, even in trying times, people are still giving us money.
Yeah. So thank you to John, Dexter, Vernalmia, Caleb, Chris, Charlie, Katarzyna, Troloic, Dangerous Goose, Jeremy, the Uric guy, Jason, Robert, Danub, Kevin, Michael, and Books and Coffee.
Yeah,
Those are
thanks a
all
lot.
our new patrons. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for contributing to this endeavor.
Yeah, if you want to get involved, go check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
Even $1 a month. It goes such a long way. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's
More people, more money, more content.
Yeah, exactly. We really should put like, if we reach X amount of dollars on Patreon, we do more episodes.
We'll do a swimsuit calendar. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That was already a given.
Yeah.
I thought we were doing that anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks
what
for
month
joining.
are you, Christian?
All of them.
December.
There we go.
Because he's cold.
He's
always
No, July, because he burns so fucking hot. All right, but thank you for joining us. Honestly, it's really cool to know that people are willing to put their money to support us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Anything for Community Corner today? I don't
No,
think so.
no one's emailed. But if you have anything 40K related, whether it's your own podcast, whether it's
Yeah, your
Instagram
commission, your
commission
channel,
payment, or
yeah.
anything 40K related, email us and we'll take a quick minute and give you a shout out.
Yeah. We would love to do that. If you just have a gaming group and you want us to shout that out,
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Fuck, even if you just want to hear your name, join
Well,
the
then you should pay
Patreon.
Patreon. Yeah.
You know, I'm just going back trying to resell old stuff.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah. Different, same product, different marketing. Are we Games Workshop? Are we the baddies?
You've become the thing you hate the
Oh
most.
God, I was the fool all along. Wow. Well, I think then,
Then we're into the episode.
yeah, let's just jump right in.
Okay, so this episode is going to be on gene seed mutation. So we're going to be talking all about gene seed, how it mutates, and
What does it
are the
mean?
outcomes.
What does it mean to mutate your gene seed?
Yeah.
How does it actually affect you?
The way you were typing over there sounded and looked so fake. It was like,
Oh, really? Yeah, that was real. That was real. That was fake.
click.
It was a little fun thing for the listeners out there.
Sounds great. I'm sure that'll be enjoyable to listen to.
I don't know if it's even picking it up, but we'll see.
So in this episode, we're going to do a brief little disclaimer, and that's why we're not talking about Primaris Marines in this episode.
Yeah, Primaris Marines or Primaris Gene Seed.
Yeah. So while in this episode is about gene seed, corruption, and mutation, we will not be discussing the gene seed of the Primaris at this point. There's not been a comprehensive understanding shared about the Primaris gene seed, and its future in the setting seems to be up in the air. Whether or not they're mutated, corrupted, which organs are active, which are lost, we don't really know any of these kind of details.
It's in flux right now.
Yeah.
When it was originally came out, they were like, no, this gene seed is pure and above corruption and mutation.
Yeah.
And then a little later, they released that it can corrupt, but on a weird level. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
because
just-
they do have Black Rage.
Yeah, but it's like
They've
it
hinted
affects
at
them a
stuff,
little
yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
So it's just too
Unknown.
unknown at this point
Exactly.
for us to actually educate you
Yeah.
about.
And then there's others like the Space Wolves who don't even drink from the cup of the
Exactly.
wolf
do
in.
they get the Canis Helix? We don't know yet. So
Yeah.
it's better to just wait and find out.
Yeah. But, this will still affect a lot of chapters and can affect how you write your own chapter. Because I think, the only interesting thing about Space Marines is their gene seed and, any flaws they might have.
Something that makes them different and standing
Yeah.
apart from. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We will also talk about that.
Yeah.
Mark was saying that this can help you write your story or whatever. Whatever we share, you could conceivably write this about your Primaris army. You could say
Sure,
that your
sure.
Primaris gene seed acts the exact same as what we talk about here.
Yeah.
We just don't know if that's a generalization we can make about all Primaris
Exactly.
gene seed. Okay.
So now that everyone has that in mind, we're just talking about the regular guys.
yeah.
So the first thing we're going to jump into is what actually makes a Space Marine a Space Marine.
Well, they are super soldiers.
Yeah.
And there are many examples of super soldiers in the galaxy. And however you define a super soldier, because there's actually quite a different things that make them. So many humans in 40K have ventured beyond what we would consider possible, whether through technology, environmental stimulus, genetic engineering, chemical enhancement, or even indoctrinations, hypnotherapy, and even training.
Yeah.
And anyone we seem to put in this category was like Custodes, Thunder Warriors, Sisters of Battle, Catechans, even Death Corps of Krieg. All of these would fit under what we would call super soldiers in the 41st millennium.
Whether they've been augmented technologically, even their environment, such as the Mutations, where
they're not genetically altered on the same scale, but they've spent so long in this enhanced environmental stimulus that they've evolved beyond what we would consider normal for humanity.
Yeah.
They're deviant.
Yeah. Fictional super soldiers are usually heavily augmented, either implants, drugs, brainwashing, traumatic events, extreme training regime, or even scientific and pseudoscientific means.
Yeah, that was a quote we found online, and it seemed to really capture the essence of everything that we're talking about here, is that almost any enhancement, no matter what kind you think of, can effectively make you a super soldier.
So, even by our definition, in our real world, the Spetsnaz are kind of super soldiers. They have extreme training regime. Even the Navy SEALs, or what's the American
the Navy SEALs.
Yeah,
isn't
they
that
have advanced technology. They have a training that people literally
goes beyond
Yeah, some
what is
people
normal.
can literally physically not do it. They're a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah, you could conceivably say that those are super soldiers in relative to what our regular soldiers, our infantry,
Exactly.
is capable of. So
Yeah.
there's definitely different levels,
Yeah.
varying degrees,
Yeah.
but
Tristan's
giving me the
he's giving a look.
yeah.
I won't. I'm not
said
gonna-
something positive about a
speak your
communist.
mind.
He's going to be
No,
angry.
Spetsnaz specifically is a very broad group of
Oh
forces.
yeah. So
but
I don't know
that's not even
exactly. Yeah, but I
I
know
was being pedantic. It's fine.
Okay,
That's why I was
okay.
just glaring.
He was just being angry.
No, I don't know.
You're ruining.
No.
Spetsnaz.
No.
What was the last good thing you heard about Spetsnaz?
Actually,
Their lore is not solid. Christian
What
needs a
recently
rewrite.
has come out about the Spetsnaz?
okay, hold on. I do admire the Spetsnaz. In
The Spets Marines?
the Spets Marines, yes. No. I don't want to get into it.
Do you disagree with that definition of super soldier?
Not the fictional one, just the real one. I don't.
Sure.
I don't have an argument. I'm just questioning, just asking questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another thing is they use the word heavily augmented, whether through like I don't know if like Navy SEALs are heavily put through like these regimes or augmented.
I'm hesitant to call
I can see that anything
it's
that
a
we
stretch,
have.
real
for
world.
sure. Yes.
Yeah.
But if you were to say that they were, I would be
Sure,
like,
yes,
all right,
they're
like,
cut
sure,
above
I
anybody
can see
else.
how you
Yeah.
get there,
Yes.
whether
Yeah.
or not I agree with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I also think that there's something beyond, but based on this definition that we have, like Sisters of Battle in 40K are super soldiers,
Yeah.
right? But we had to come to the conclusion, like, what makes them? They're not genetically different than others. Like, Cetaceans are much tougher and much stronger than them with, like, way better fighting ability. What makes them different? Well, it's just power armor.
Yeah.
But anyone can get in power armor, right? That's just
Right,
training.
and that's where I start getting into those questions, and it could be a
Yeah,
whole
so it's
podcast on like, okay, how do you define it? What are your
Exactly.
hard and soft
So-
terms on it?
It's a very
'Cause-
broad term.
Okay, think of it like this too. Tau have advanced technology. Are Tau battlesuit super soldiers?
I think you need to do it as a relativity to
Other things. Right.
So relative to the water cast and the air cast, they are super soldiers. And as soon as you get in a mech, whoever pilots a mech is definitely a super soldier compared to a fire warrior or a breacher. Because
Right.
I'm assuming it also takes extra training and you
They do
familiarize
even
with the
have
weaponry.
some like neural links and stuff. So
Yeah.
So they're
So they are
being augmented,
augmented.
right?
Yeah.
Skitarii too. They're augmented
Absolutely.
too. They would be super soldiers. They're cut above regular.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
regular
basically,
forces.
everyone in 40K is a super soldier.
But Space Marines are the super soldiers of super
Just
soldiers.
compare everyone to Cadian Imperial Guardsmen.
Yeah.
Just your
Yeah.
regular foot slog.
Yeah.
But
Don't
even
you dare say
Cadians,
it!
no, even Cadians are like always described as being very elite, very militarized,
Yeah.
like from a young age. Like,
Yeah.
Of
again,
course.
by modern definitions, and if you include like modern special
Yes.
forces, they would be.
But I think
pretty
what you need to do
significant.
is you need to look at what it's relative to around it. We aren't comparing Space Marines to us. We're comparing Navy SEALs to Marines. We're not comparing Space Marines to Navy SEAls because then Navy SEAls are not super soldiers.
Yeah,
at
they're just
all.
regular humans.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that that's out of the way.
Now that we've done
so
it.
out of all these types of space or super soldiers
in 40K.
in 40K, the thing that makes Space Marines unique is the inclusion of the gene seed. That is completely Space Marine unique.
Yeah. Training, cults, indoctrination,
Power
Technology,
armor.
all those aspects
yeah.
can be found in other areas
power
of
armor,
40K.
drugs, hypnotherapy,
Yeah.
all that is in everything else. But gene seed is
Religious
only.
fervor.
Of
with-
course, yeah. Yeah. Religious
That counts as, like,
indoctrination,
indoctrination, yeah.
brainwashing.
I guess, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
gene seed is the one thing that makes Space Marines Space Marines. So we're going to talk about what Space Marine or gene seed is. After the Emperor conquered Terra during the Unification Wars, his first battle of the Great Crusade was the pacification of Luna, where he secured massive gene laboratories deep within Luna.
So he just went to Luna and gave everyone a pacifier.
Yes.
And he was like, now, you pacified.
Yes, sir.
And he
You
pacified
proud of
Luna.
this joke?
I am. I enjoy that.
You proud?
Nice.
I enjoy it as well.
Very nice.
Very nice.
So previously, Luna had been ruled by the Selenar, and they go by many different names, and they're an ancient gene cult, and they had been around for a very, very long time. But now that he was here, he had the capacity to create his sons, the Primarchs, and then their armies, the Space Marines. Now that he had these laboratories underneath Luna.
Yeah.
So working with the gene witches on Luna, they were able to derive the gene seed from the preserved genetic code of the Primarchs. Because the gene seed was never, as far as I'm aware, it wasn't his first goal. His first goal was Primarchs.
Yeah.
And then after they disappeared, he had remnants of their genetic code left over. And he's like, well, now I will create gene seed and Space Marines out of this.
Yeah, you could assume, though, he always planned on doing
Some
Space
form
Marines.
of this, but
Yeah.
like
Maybe
whether or
he
not-
wanted an army of Primarchs.
It's
No, 'cause
1
no,
million
it's possible.
Primarchs.
Yeah, that's true.
who knows, right? Like if it went super well, like maybe he would just continue creating Primarchs.
Yeah.
And maybe he was like, oh man, this drew too much attention. I can't build this. I have to do something slightly lesser. Or maybe it was an intention all along that, the Primarchs are there and then they disappear and he starts his Great Crusade. And, like there's so many different things. We don't know his full intention until we read the Saturnine. Yeah. But the gene seeds are from the genetic code of the Primarchs.
Yeah. And so there's 19, 20 different Primarchs. I mean, 21 maybe. Who knows? Hard to say.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
I am Alfarius.
And each one of them had their own genetic code. So then each one of them has their own unique gene seed template. So gene seed is 19 organs that are fully developed gene seed and are what are needed to transform a human into the super soldier called Astartes. Gene seed is a two-meaning word. It can mean all 19 like different organs, so like the secondary heart, any type of the 19
Yeah,
original
the multi-lung,
organs.
the osmophagia, that is all gene seed.
Yeah, but then there's also a specific organ called the progenoid gland, which is also often referred to as gene seed.
Yes, because when something you'll hear very often is gene seed harvesting.
Yeah.
And when gene seed is being harvested, all that's actually being harvested is this progenoid gland that carries the template for all 19 other organs to be grown out of it.
Yeah.
So that progenoid gland is on gene seed, as well as all 19 organs in conjunction with each other are called gene seed.
Yeah.
Got to get that progenoid.
Yes, sir.
Got to get it.
Get a good.
But only on a roll of a 3-up.
I know. It's hard. Apothecaries have a hard job. They
As
gotta
our
stand-
resident apothecary.
They got to stand in the field of battle, rip out that progenoid.
With a chainsword.
It's hard to do. Sometimes you squish it by accident. That's what that 1 and 2 count for.
Oh, no.
Ah, dang it. I squished another one.
It's like there's that one really shitty apothecary in the
Ah,
chapter.
Daryl. Fuck.
I'm not. Stop, Daryl. Just stop.
Be gentle.
How many times do we have to warn you?
So, we're going to go over all 19 organs and kind of what they do.
Yeah.
So the very first, there's different phases when you're making a Space Marine. I forget how many, but so they do different phases, and each phase kind of does a set of gene seed. So in the very first phase,
a different set of organs.
Yeah, different set of organs. So in the very first phase, you get the secondary heart, and this is pretty obvious. It increases blood flow, but also allows the Marine to survive if his other heart's destroyed or damaged.
Yeah. So you can't just take one heart blow. You got to take 2, and just
Like
increases the survivability.
Marnius Colgar.
Has 4 hearts.
Well, he got one of them blowed up. So now
I mean, you just got a pig heart though.
Yeah. Space Marines are so huge too that you need the second heart to be able to pump blood everywhere in your body.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just wouldn't get places, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah.
So-
They need oxygen like way more than anyone else does in their body.
But also not at the same time, because they can efficiently. There's a thing that came up on Reddit recently where someone was arguing like Space Marines need, because their bodies are so big and stuff, they need so much more food and nutrients. Like they would die very quickly without the proper resources to run such a large body. With big animals and things. But their bodies also run so efficiently.
Oxygen is a little different than nutrients, though.
But both are true because they
Nutrients?
can draw more oxygen from the air and harvest it more
there's-
efficiently in their body than you can with
I
your
can definitely
stupid
see
regular
that,
human lungs.
But they also have multi-lungs, which leads me to another thing. Like they also just draw in more air with every breath.
Sure, yes, that's also true. But my
Right.
point is like I don't know.
They're definitely more
necessarily
efficient.
Need more oxygen.
Their
But
body
they could use
requires more oxygen to function at their heightened state.
Sure, at a better level.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying they don't need it. You'll see. You'll see.
They don't need
Because
to
they
like,
can-
any of
if you like
Right.
put them in
No,
a
no, no.
room, there's no oxygen. They just suck up all the air in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, but then they just hold their breath for like 10 years, so it wouldn't matter. That's my point. They I'm being extreme, but they harvest that oxygen more efficiently. Their body metabolizes that oxygen more strategically.
Yes.
They
But they're-
photosynthesize in their bodies and they convert the oxygen
Okay, but they can draw
carbon
oxygen out of
dioxide
water.
and then the carbon dioxide back to
Right,
oxygen.
exactly. So they're like their ability to draw more from their environment is also true.
That's definitely true, but I see
And
that
then-
more as a survivable thing, not as like, hey, we need you to like fight better. So here's a reduced ability to use oxygen. No, it should be we're gonna flood your entire body with oxygen.
Yeah, which is only a good thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like heart rate and blood flow just increases the rate that oxygen is transferred throughout your body. Your lung capacity. What does that have
I
to
don't
do?
disagree. I'm just
Okay.
adding to what you're saying.
I don't.
You guys are
Are we not on the
fighting
same
about
page?
You're agreeing, but you're fighting.
All right, second gene seed. Are we going to do this on every single one?
I hope so.
The osmodula. This encourages and increases bone growth through a ceramic-based diet. So this gland, so Space Marines are fed while they're growing, like very heavy ceramic-based foods, like extra
Here's
ceramic.
a pot.
Yeah, exactly.
This pot.
That
They
pretty
eat
much.
what's in like they eat the soup and then they eat the pot.
Yeah. But this this organ has the ability to pull that out, and instead of just passing it, it incorporates it into their bone growth.
Would you say like it almost manages it more efficiently? And
No, it does something completely different. That's very. So the osmodula also.
Yeah, I can only process trace amounts of ceramics in my diet.
And steel.
but a space marine eats whole plates. I have to like smash the plate first, and then eat
I
it,
only
like,
take
little
slivers.
bits.
I shave my ceramics before I eat.
Well, you got to
them.
round
It's
them
a little
down too,
garnish.
so that they don't like
Cut
scrape
you up
you all
on
the
the
way
way
down.
down.
But you just like you sand them down, pop it in like a pill.
Easy.
Easy.
One and done.
Easy.
Another thing the osmodula does is it alters the growth patterns of the actual skeleton itself, and it eventually fuses the entire rib cage into interlocking plates, hard as ceramite, and it's meant to be like another bulletproof vest
Essentially,
covering your chest. There's a lot of important organs in a Space Marine's chest.
They eventually have like 3 layers of armor. They have like their power armor, they have their black carapace, and then they still have a fused metal rib cage. So that's fun.
Yeah.
isn't their skin extra hard too?
Yeah. Apparently,
Maybe not like
There's the
bullet.
mucus or whatever? Is
no,
that
no.
what-
Like so, in older editions, like Space Marine skin was even immune to like small caliber arms. Like,
Oh, I seem to remember that.
yeah, like that's pretty old lore. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
think
not
that
saying it's
holds up.
bulletproof, but it's definitely tougher than our weak human.
Yeah, sure.
Everything should be like their fingernails are probably better.
Yeah,
right?
to like cut through metal.
Just,
or,
I'm assuming that
Are
the
they better
osmodula would spread.
that is where they lack actually.
I'm
Lack
better
of
than-
experience, unfortunately.
I would assume that the osmodula spreads this ceramic
Yeah.
throughout their entire body. Like their teeth are probably stronger because of this. Their skin is tougher. Their hair is probably like way like
They use chainsaws to
tougher
cut
than
their hair.
ours. Yeah, like why not? Like their nails are probably tougher. Like I bet everything gets enhanced through this. Anyways, next one.
Zoom, enhance. Zoom, enhance.
We've got them now.
That's the Space Marine. Got him.
The next is the Biscopia, and this releases hormones to increase muscle growth. And it also serves as a hormonal base for the introduction of many other organs.
Yeah, we
So-
were kind of talking about how anytime foreign organs are introduced into a body, like especially in our humans, like they severely reduce the ability of your immune system to fight against like foreign objects. But like in here, they don't talk about how they do that. It just sounds like they pump them full of like growth hormones to where like your body either just accepts it or it doesn't. And
Yeah.
And then you die.
Yeah, you
Which
might
is a
die.
very real thing.
Yeah,
in
of
Space
course.
People
Marines.
die
Yeah.
during these surgeries all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it could come to whether or not their body is like just accepting these organs
Or
and-
rejecting.
Yeah.
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 It's not necessarily just due to like the danger of having your rib cage ripped open, you know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So these 3 are done in one phase, and they're like 3 of the most essential ones. So they make you bigger, they make you stronger, they make you tougher. They definitely give you the appearance of a 8-foot tall super soldier.
Hulking monster
Exactly.
of muscle.
Yeah. So up next we have the hemastamen.
The hemastamen?
The hemastamen.
Hemastamen? Who knows?
So
Depends
this
on your dialect of English.
Did you read the Scottish Mac and Mick message we got?
No.
So last
we got
episode-
shit for
God.
something.
Yeah, we
You
got
said
shit
it again,
for it.
James.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
He needs another interrogation.
Yeah.
Was I backwards?
You were wrong. Apparently, according to
I
this
didn't
person
read.
who gave
Yeah.
us no credentials.
I clicked it.
or-
I thought, not interested, and I closed it right away.
I read it. I enjoyed it.
He said that
He said that it
They're
means
bo-
nothing.
Oh, really?
There
I
is
could've
there is
sworn.
crossover between the two.
Yeah.
Well,
the one doesn't
inbreeding.
mean. He
It's
said
not
that it doesn't
exclusive.
mean one like Mick or Mac does not mean Scottish or Irish. or
Sure.
whatever.
You know what? I don't know anything. So
Me neither.
I
and,
just
and he didn't
talk.
offer up his credentials either. So
Well, I have a bachelor's in history. That's better than whatever he's provided. So Damn.
Damn.
Maybe he's a master's in history.
Well, yeah, prove it.
With
Prove it.
PhD.
specialization in Scottish and Irish.
Naming
history.
Great Britain Isle history. Anyway,
Put it on the table.
Let me see.
prove it. Sorry, the hemastamen.
So this releases hormones. Oh, that's not that. This increases the hemoglobin content in the blood, making it more efficient at carrying oxygen. It also serves to monitor and control actions of the osmodula and the biscopia.
Yeah, so another really important thing, got to make sure that the other things are working properly. Yeah. Next, we have Laramin's organ. So this creates and controls Laramin's cells, which are released into the bloodstream when the Astartes is wounded. These cells create instant scar tissue covering the wound. It's effectively like a cauterize. Just makes it so that you don't bleed out.
Is this changed from before?
What was it used to be?
It used to just be like instantly clotting blood.
Oh, it specifically says scar tissue.
Scar tissue, yeah. So that might be a recent modification.
No,
or we
no,
read into
no.
it differently before?
No. I think it's always done that.
You think it's always been scar tissue?
Yeah,
I think it definitely was instantly clotting. Before.
It does. Yeah, it does both.
No, clotting and scar tissue are very different.
They are different, but it could be both. Like, I'm not saying it's exclusive one to the other. They're just choosing to describe it differently. But it functions in both ways. Like, it instantly clogs, and then suddenly it starts to scar.
Yeah.
But I hard to say. Although instantly clotting blood also has its drawbacks, too. Like plugging up your veins and killing you.
I think they can control when it gets released. So
those are from everything from that thing on Lexicanum is sourced as very old. So it hasn't changed recently.
They haven't talked about the whole gene seed process in a long time, have they?
No.
I don't think that comes up very often anymore.
But
That was just a question.
It hasn't been changed recently.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But I don't know anything. Somebody respond and tell me why I'm wrong.
Another one.
should we set up an email specifically for people to send you hate mail?
JamesComplaints.com.
Things James said wrong. Cool.
Yeah. So on the Lexicanum, they do say that they function very much like platelets, and platelets do clot blood.
Yeah.
So.
But is it different?
Yeah, I don't know.
Functioning like and being.
I'm not a gene witch, so I didn't create I'm not Laramin, right? I didn't create the Laramin cells.
Yeah.
Instead of being a doctor, I'm not a gene witch.
The next one we have is the cataleption node. This allows a Marine to sequentially cut off parts of their brain in order to experience rest and wakefulness at the same time. It cannot replace sleep entirely, but it allows Marines to go up to 2 weeks without a meaningful rest.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Which is very cool. Yeah, they can function for 2 straight weeks without sleeping.
Just outlast your opponents.
Yeah. Just imagine if you could foot slog for 2 straight weeks. Like you cover a lot of ground under the cover of darkness.
Just imagine if you could paint model for 2 straight weeks.
Just imagine if you could paint models for longer than 10 minutes. How great would that be?
Yeah. That would change the community entirely.
By the time I pop open the paint pot, I'm like, all right, I think that was a good session. Like, time to clean up,
I'm understanding why none of your models are painted. It's all coming together.
Yeah, me and Ian have a bet going on if Eric will actually now paint his models now that they've been airbrushed.
They've been all.
We're both saying
based,
no.
Yeah. Wait, how is that a bet then? Who are you
It's
betting
just how
against?
long
Yeah.
it'll be before you realize that you're not going to do it. That's what the real
Sons of
bet.
bitches.
Do you have those back now?
No, I'm getting them today.
Oh.
Yeah. The next one we have is the preomnor. So this is a pre-stomach that can neutralize poisonous or indigestible foods. But the interesting thing about this is that no actual indigestion takes place in this first stomach. Because we were talking previously about has there ever been a story about how Space Marines eat steel or crazy things that other people can't eat? And it was maybe it's
I
a
think,
weird thing in my head.
Yeah, I think it must have just been a joke because they have acidic spit. So maybe it's we just joked about it.
Yeah.
But they're not getting nutritional value.
Of course,
Hold
yes.
on.
Because this second stomach does not do any indigestion. So they just have regular human digestion.
not indigestion.
Yeah.
But, didn't you say their diets consist of something?
Ceramic.
But that's
Ceramic
another.
just
There's a
means
specific,
artificial.
No, ceramic is an actual.
It just means artificially
That is-
created.
Google. Everyone pull
That
up
is
Google.
not.
The interesting thing is ceramite is actually a thing.
Yeah.
But
Ceramic means made of clay and hardened by heat. It's pots and other articles made from clay hardened by heat. Ceramic has nothing to do with artificial. Ceramic is like a type of pottery.
Do
myself.
Egyptians.
Like, pull it up, Jamie. Like, come on.
Oh, I'm gonna be wrong. So whatever I think, just assume
And what
it's
do
the
you
opposite.
think?
No. Hold on.
The reason-
I agree with Christian.
A
I always
ceramic
agree
material
with
is
Christian.
an inorganic, non-metallic, often crystalline oxide, nitrate, or carbide material. Some elements, such as carbon or silicon, may be considered ceramic.
You're gonna trust the Wikipedia?
He's on Wikipedia, not on like what's the
He should be on
Google ceramic
WebMD.
define. Define the actual thing of what ceramic is.
Sure. I think it's just because the nature of pottery can vary so greatly.
But it's
like
clay.
what it's actually made out of.
Ceramic pottery is clay.
But maybe not exclusively. Stoneware counts. Porcelain. So
Interesting.
I'm just saying it's a broader.
Whatever it is.
I don't know why I'm being so pedantic, honestly.
Whatever
I just-
You're
it
an
is.
angry
I'm just
guy.
looking for
You're
reasons
up
to be
till
pissed.
3 a.m. and now you got the grumpies. You got a little bit of the
Could it
grumpies.
be because I don't sleep?
But whatever it is, Christian, there is a specific organ that allows them to pull these trace ceramic elements out. It doesn't mean they can pull
Sure.
all elements
Yeah,
or
that's
all things.
That's totally
So,
fair.
so
That's true.
their indigestion in itself hasn't been changed. It's just one thing has been introduced that allows them to pull a specific element out. If that's, yeah.
So what did this organ do again?
This organ neutralizes poison and cleans things in my mind. Like if a space marine eats
It's like
something,
another liver.
Yeah.
A super
yes,
liver.
It's very similar to that, and is how I view it. Because like if a space marine eats something that it just cannot digest, this makes sure it's not dangerous, and then I'm assuming the space marine just passes it like we would. Like
yeah, or maybe they throw it up. Or
yeah, who knows? But
like an
you
owl.
definitely
It's
don't.
like a ball. Like
Yeah, you definitely don't digest it. That's
Yeah.
the main thing. Is
Right.
that you
And
should
it's a little
That's-
holding container.
that's fair.
yeah, just full of mucus that just rubs it and cleans everything. Little cleaning stomach, I call it. How's your preomnor today, James?
It's a little queasy. I ate some coronavirus. And it's dealing with it right now.
Well,
We'll
you're
let you
fucked.
work that out.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just a little corona. No problem.
have a beer. All right, next.
Omophagia. So this is able to absorb genetic information consumed by the space marine, and then transmits this information as a series of memories experienced by the marine. So they can the typical example is they will eat somebody's brain. And
Some
they-
organic material, yeah.
Specifically, like you get more out of the brain, but yeah, you could eat a finger and you might get
Or drink
a
their
little
blood.
bit.
Or,
Yeah.
Something organic though. They're
Lick
not.
their
They're not getting
toes.
trees experiences or
Trees are
anything.
organic. but-
Yeah.
No, they're not.
They're not ceramic.
They're
I can
not
tell you
Scottish.
that.
I'll tell you that. How many hands is a tree? What's the width though? That's
If
the
you eat a tree's toenail, you will understand how it feels.
Maybe
to be
a
tree if you're a
cetacean.
space marine.
tree. No, yeah, trees are organic.
This
What
podcast
was,
is
what was that?
I don't know.
Sentient? Is that the?
This is why we should do early podcasts.
Yeah.
We're grumpy. Our brains aren't
Wild.
working. I tried to do 10, boys. I tried to do 10, but
What?
Christian.
No, you suggested 9.
That's because
It's
this
'cause
guy
I
over
said 9.
here.
I'm surprised you didn't change it to 9:30 on us.
Guys, I'm up at 3 a.m.
At 8 o'clock.
Guys, I can't sleep. Let's do it right now.
3 in the
We're doing it live.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy, pretty wild. Like that, they can literally eat anything and get
And gain some
memories.
kind of
Yeah.
understanding of
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
They have a multi-lung, and this allows Marines to breathe in low oxygen or poisoned atmospheres or even water, which is very cool.
Yeah.
It has this multi-lung has highly efficient toxin dispersal system. So just another protection against
Yeah.
potentially deadly environments.
Yeah, I wonder with the water, like how long they could actually survive off that. Like,
yeah, I don't think they could become total fish people.
yeah, like that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
Maybe it's just a lower efficiency and that eventually they will suffocate, but just
Well, because the
takes-
body still requires X amount of oxygen, and if you can only draw a certain amount of oxygen out of the water, maybe it's just slightly less than what
Yeah.
they need. So it's just like, all right, you're on a time limit once you're in
Yeah.
the water
Yeah.
before you just pass out.
And then he's like, okay, I'll just put my helmet on.
Right, yeah.
no not
Enter
if you're a
an
sergeant or
environmentally
above.
sealed. No, Grey Knights, yeah, they wouldn't do that. They would just create a psychic bubble around their head full of air. They would breathe through the warp. Just create a pocket of reality of outside
their head.
into their head. Yeah. That's what I would do.
So what I would do.
Oh,
All right, the oculobe. James actually really loves this one.
Yep. It provides hormonal and genetic stimuli to the eyes, allowing for optic therapy and surgeries to extremely enhance their vision. Allows for low sight to be as bright as day. So when I'm creeping up on Christian's house in the dead of night, doing the creep, I can see into his bedroom.
As if it were day.
Yep, that's the way I like it. Lights on.
Can you zoom with your eyes as well?
Can you enhance?
Yeah,
I just
zoom,
super pixelated the closer you get.
I did wonder if Space Marines had like some organic optical zoom.
Yeah,
Just
like I've
eagle
never.
eyes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've never heard anything about it, but
I wonder.
I mean,
like-
yeah, they're really vague about enhance their vision. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, can they manipulate on their own, like, the amount of light that's being, like, because we can't really manipulate our own pupil dilation, right? Like, it goes naturally to whatever light we're in. But what if they can
Unless you're
manipulate it?
blazed.
They can, like, increase, like, the amount of light that's in to, like, see a little farther or to see different things. I don't know. I wondered how much control they had over it.
I saw a really complicated post once about elven eyes from Lord of the Rings, and
delightful.
What do your elf eyes see?
yeah, and they went into this like
A
super
red dawn. Bun has been spilled this night, yeah.
no. They went into this super complicated like mathematical and like real life biology. I didn't follow it at all. But
Was it made up?
apparently there's science out there.
Was it
It very
made
well
up?
could have been
Like,
made
what
up
was
by
his
some
credentials?
gene witch. I have no idea.
It's just Reddit. Everything on Reddit is canon.
Reddit. Yeah, that's a good
no, that one was actually on Facebook.
qualifier.
So even
That's even
even
worse.
less,
Oh my
less
God.
reputable. But I'm just saying it's out there somewhere.
Good.
Thanks.
We'll find it.
Thanks.
God.
I'll look for it.
That's what we need right now. We need to know exactly
we need a fifth
what that
opinion.
post is. Yeah.
There's not enough opinions in this room. Get a fifth one.
Oh my god, we're not even through all the goddamn gene seeds.
This episode will get more interesting, I think.
Yeah.
I hope.
I'm having a good time so far. I don't know.
Something Christian said at least twice today. Why am I being so pedantic? I don't know.
And he literally is pulling up. I just seen Legolas's face. So
I'm trying to Google it. Okay, Lyman's ear. So another organ, part of the gene seed. It offers an immunity to dizziness and motion sickness. It allows Marines to filter out and even enhance certain sounds.
yeah, that one's pretty cool.
So this one,
Yeah.
I think it was after we read this that I really wondered about the eyes.
Yeah.
Because this one, it sounds like they have control over what they're enhancing and what they're choosing to block out auditorily. So what if they can manipulate in some way how their eyes work as well?
I wouldn't be surprised about it.
I think that would be very
Yeah.
cool. Like
Yeah.
anything that just increases the minutia. Like minutia in Space Marines is very good. Yeah. Anyways, next.
Next, we have the Suzanne Membrane, and this allows the Marine to enter suspended. And what's the looks going on?
Well, it's Susan.
Yeah.
Susan made this.
Yeah. The great sorcerer Susan.
Gene Witch Susan, join us.
This allows the Marine to enter suspended animation, either consciously or as a response to extreme trauma. So if they get super hurt, their body goes into
Like they suffer a bad breakup, they just instantly curl into a ball and
Super
hibernate.
Brand, no, not again. No, yeah, like if their body gets like ripped in half and they lose their lower like chest, their body, like instead of dying out, like
just shut
they
it down.
they shut down and go into crisis.
I just looked it
cryo.
up. So the reason it's called that is because the first Space Marine to actually experience a breakup was with a woman named Susan. And so from
And
then on,
this
they
is just a side effect. They like entered into stasis. They're like, wait, we can do that?
yes.
He felt it so hard.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Right in the
that's like
feels.
it spontaneously generated that.
Was it a
organ the
Scottish
first time.
Marine?
Susan is actually a Swahili name.
Okay. Very good to know.
All right, once again, it's jamescomplaint@gmail.com. So only proper chemical therapy or auto-suggestion can relieve the Marine from this state.
Yeah, there's like keywords,
Yeah.
like buzzwords. They just bring you out. I think what's the longest one?
Susan
500
actually
years?
loves you.
567.
Yeah,
Come
there was a
back on.
marine. That
Susan
was,
actually.
She's come back to you. She's back. Nope, just kidding. Damn it.
yeah, apparently there was a marine that
My
was
sweet
stuck.
Swahili Susan.
That was stuck in this stasis for over 500 years.
Yeah.
And he was still revived.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's like without cryo technology or anything or stasis tech. Like he's just on a bed.
Yeah.
Like his body like is even preserved probably by that mucus stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Crazy.
pretty wild.
All right, the Melon chromic organ. This controls the melanin in a marine's skin. Its main function is just a protection from radiation. It's just another thing against environmental hazards. Really. Probably helps
They're all
regulate their
races.
heat as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Space Marines are all races simultaneously.
They are.
Yeah, whatever they need to be.
Whatever they need to be.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's very beautiful. There's something to that.
Have you found your
We're
elf
all
thing yet,
one.
Christian?
Yeah,
We are
it
all
wasn't as
one.
complicated as I thought I remembered.
You read it a long time ago.
When he was like a child.
Yeah.
Wow, eyes so complicated. Elves.
No, they're just talking about pupil dilation, how wide your pupils would have to be to see a certain distance, and then it's affected obviously by the curvature of the Earth, but that's not applicable in all scenarios with Space Marines because they're not exclusively on the Earth.
Yeah.
So
Middle Earth is flat.
Well, everything is flat, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna this. I've seen the map.
I too have seen the map.
I also, at one point, did witness something like a map for Middle Earth.
Flat? Flat?
It was flat.
It was flat.
It's flat.
It was all
I
flat.
haven't seen a globe of Middle Earth.
Nope.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
seen the Earth's curvature though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's a government illusion.
Yeah, that's something created. So the next gene seed we have is the Oolitic Kidney. So this kidney filters a marine's blood very quickly, protecting marines from most poisons. It also allows the entire circulatory system and other organs to function effectively. So we kind of said like, okay, what would rely on this kidney? And we came up with the secondary heart, the multi-lung, the biscopia, hemostamen, and even the Laraman's organ all would require this enhanced kidney ability.
Yeah, anything that has to do with the circulatory system. So, yeah. Up next, we got the Neuro Glottis, and this allows them to identify chemicals by taste.
That's cool.
It's wild. Yeah, so they can do the whole snake tongue and track their prey, and yeah.
Can they detect elements in the air?
Probably. Yeah. Like
So in combination, like the Space Wolves obviously have some other heightened senses. As
They
well,
do.
They
right?
do,
Does
yeah.
that
my
seems like what would they need them for?
my
Because it just gets better, right? Like
But,
you
like,
can always
what
be
ones?
stronger. You can always
be faster.
You can always be faster. You can always
I
track
guess- and
better.
smell isn't
You can always
one.
see better,
Yeah, you can
right?
tell
Have
even
we-
more like whatever's in the air.
Exactly.
we haven't gone
yeah.
over any ones that do smell, right?
No.
So
I don't think
that must
so.
be like
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you smell with your tongue, you don't need your nose anymore, do you?
Well, it's taste. They identify chemicals by taste.
so you'd have to ingest it.
Well, no, you could taste things on the air, but it's not smelling.
So you just like walk around like,
yeah. Every once in a while, you see a Space Marine's tongue just like flick out of their mouth.
There's shit in the air.
brother, I have pooped myself.
Get out. Take your memes with you. All right, the mucranoid. Oh, probably mucranoid, like mucus.
Yeah.
Yeah. This mucranoid gland can sweat a substance that coats a Space Marine's entire skin, and it offers protection from harsh environments. Think like extreme heat or extreme colds or even vacuums. Yeah, like this. It just
So
creates
Vacuum, not vacuums.
a space vacuum.
Yeah. Nope.
You know, the one that that one's vacuum company made.
Mega made.
The Dyson space vacuum.
It's a space vacuum.
Removes all air from your house. Yeah, no, this like literally coats their skin
Yeah.
in like a shield, like a physical shield layer.
Yeah.
Do you think that like if they're all sweaty from battle, they just like feel like a giant runny nose?
Yes.
Ooh.
This is canon.
Okay.
No, I'm assuming that this isn't like this isn't all the sweat that comes out of their body. It's like they can activate it,
Yeah.
right?
In situations where it's
where they
It's
feel
Like most of the
it's
time,
necessary,
it wouldn't be necessary because even their suits are like
Environmentally
environmentally sealed
sealed,
and
yeah.
like air conditioned. So, yeah. The Betcher's gland.
Oh, the most important one, really.
able to synthesize and store a poison in their mouth, like in their cheek lower lip part. The marine is immune to this poison, but this poison is also corrosive and can burn through metal. So it's sometimes used as like a last resort weapon or like
It's like an ace in the
that
sleeve
used a
almost.
lot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it used a lot in like stories.
you never
It's
do,
pretty
yeah.
underwhelming compared to like, hey, or you could just punch your way through a
wall.
14-foot wall.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
Or you do a little spit boy. You know?
Yeah.
I blind you. Aim for the eyes. You know, or you literally just beat them and their ancestors into like a new dimension. I'm just saying, like,
And their
a
ancestors.
beating that a space marine gives you is felt beyond reality. That's all I'm trying
The
to
current
say.
timeline. It goes back
Exactly.
into time.
No.
And beats up all your relatives.
Exactly.
Beat you so hard, your great forebears are gonna feel it.
Right. Ooh. Anyways. All right. We got two more.
Can we get through this without more speed bumps?
Progenoids. So progenoids consist of two organs, one implanted in the neck and one in the chest cavity. These absorb the genetic material of the other gene seed organs and store them, a template of them. Upon reaching maturity at 5 years, the neck implant can be extracted. And after 10 years, the chest implant is available to be harvested. But that only happens when a marine dies, because you have to literally break their chest plate of bone open in order to get to it. So, and that's purely just to protect it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they're like either died or just severely injured, then you can have access to the chest progenoid.
Yeah. So these are used to grow new organs to be implanted in the chapter's next generation.
Yeah.
So yeah, all these organs are like, they're grown
Yeah, it's interesting to know, like,
out of this one.
yeah, it's also interesting to think, you know, do they put like tiny little things in bodies that then grow inside the body, or are they growing a heart inside like a container and then later putting it inside a body while it's like
That's
fully
how I
grown?
see it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I
also
wonder.
knowing 40k, it would be extra grim dark to have slaves that you use to grow organs and then you just harvest the slaves.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, maybe.
No,
I have no evidence for that at all.
no, I'm pretty sure
Well,
it's
You could. What kind of chapter do you have? Right. Like.
Right, yeah, maybe they do it just for fun.
Maybe Ultramarines don't do that, but like maybe some other
The
weird.
Bloodthirsters chapter.
Yeah,
yes.
sure.
Flush towers.
No,
They do that.
Bloodthirsters.
No, blood drinkers. No, the bloodthirsters.
Are we the baddies? I can't.
And then the very, very last one that we have is the black carapace. So the black carapace is implanted beneath the skin in sheets, and this organ sends invasive nerve bundles into the marine's body, which then interfaces directly with their power armor. And like this is often described as like a black plastic.
Yeah.
But just remember, this is an organic thing. It's an organ that's specifically grown and living and alive. This isn't like a piece of armor that's placed under your skin.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is so crazy just to think about that, how like this is just a part of your body.
Yeah.
It breathes and grows with you and
Literally like joins with your nerves.
yeah.
I think if you just like cook a black garbage bag onto your chest, you can
Probably
Yes.
replicate it.
Same
Yes,
effect.
I think so.
I'm willing to try on you, Christian.
I offer up my body as an experiment.
So without the black carapace, many systems of the power armor will not function. So lots of their war gear, lots of tanks, vehicles, whatever.
Yeah, they
Lots of it will
neurally
not.
integrate with almost every piece of technology that they use
Yeah.
consistently.
I think this is one of my favorite one of
one of your favorite ones.
the gene seeds, just because it's such an like it feels more futuristic and like helpful than a lot of the other ones. Like the other ones are like, yeah, okay, those all have their specific
It's cool
uses,
you can
but this is
spit
like,
acid, but
Yeah.
but like this is like,
Sci-fi.
yeah, we're like integrating technology right into your body. I don't
Yeah.
know. Seems
Yeah,
cool.
no, I agree.
And it is actually like it's a high status thing. It's the very last thing that's implanted, right? It's what makes you go from a scout to a full fledged brother.
Brother. I was waiting for somebody to do that. Yeah. So those are all the different types of gene seed. Primaris, they do have an additional 3. The sinew coils, Belisarius,
don't talk about them.
Furnus,
You
and
said you wouldn't talk about them.
the
Magnificat.
Magnificat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
half of the god. one.
Yeah.
But yes, we aren't talking about Primaris gene seed in this episode.
Yeah. So there is something called, so each gene seed is one full genetic complement of like these 19 organs. There is something called chimeric gene seed. And this is a rarely used practice that involves using genetic code from multiple Primarchs. So instead of just having one full 19 complement from one, chimeric takes from multiple. This way is a way to avoid the shortcomings that potentially mutated and corrupt gene seed can introduce.
Yeah. So if Mark was a space marine and we harvested a progenoid and his has all 19,
Yeah.
right, and they're fully functioning and the mutation and corruption is extremely low, and they harvest one from Christian and like half of them are missing.
It's got bitch boy status.
Yeah, they might, and even though you guys are from different chapters, like they might use your gene seed to make up for the shortcomings of his and try and grow more organs.
Yeah.
And then you have two gene seeds from two different genetic fathers.
Yeah.
Inhabiting the same body. What?
I was just thinking of what was it, Arrested Development, where they mix the sperm, so we don't know.
The cops? Yeah. We didn't want to know.
We don't know which one.
One's black and one's white. It's very obvious.
I also just want to mention, I would kind of scan ahead of the notes, and I don't know if you mentioned it, but they also has, just kind of linked to the whole Primarch thing. It's they're like superficial changes that also sometimes come with gene seed.
Yeah.
That effect. Do you guys touch on that later, or should I
Yep.
talk about it?
Yeah, we
now?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we talk about chapters and legions specifically.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and mutation and corruption levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it not necessarily here.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Cool.
While many chapters experience some level of mutation within their gene seed, they will most likely never introduce chimeric blend of organs.
Yeah.
So this is something to consider. Like
When
this
you're
is-
writing lore.
this is rare. Like
Yes. We have three reasons of like why we think this is super rare and special, or kind of like if you're gonna write it, this is what we think you should consider before you do it.
yeah,
So one reason is the potential difficulty of finding recruits that are genetically compatible with two gene sires.
yeah. So,
So just
that's already super tough.
And if you're going to do it, maybe one Marine is compatible, but your entire chapter, like
Yeah,
you're
so-
taking an already minuscule chance and multiplying it by itself. Like
Yeah.
it's so small, the chances that you're compatible with two people
Yeah.
to accept their gene seed.
Yeah. Another potential reason is the dishonor that would be brought upon their heritage. So
Yeah, you're muddying Dorn's heritage by including the lion's gene seed in his, right?
Exactly.
Or other way around or whatever.
yeah, and most chapters like they have very strong ties to history and very strong ties to like who they're.
Tradition.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very important to like remember who your Primarch is and always honor the chapter and honor the Primarch. And if all of a sudden you have two, like do you have two that you follow, and
Yeah.
which traditions and values do you carry over? So, and then the last reason is that the Administratum and the Inquisition could very well view this practice as heretical.
Yeah, it's kind of just like any new ideas, anything not approved,
Any
it's-
experimental process.
Yeah, you get frowned upon for sure.
Should also be noted that chaos.
Well, we talk about Heretic Astartes at the very end.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we never really mentioned that we are primarily talking about loyalist
Yeah.
legions and chapters when we're talking about this.
Yeah,
aspect.
like Chaos Heretic Astartes will still have all 19 of these organs, but
But they're going to be way open to using chimeric gene seed because that's
Yeah.
what's available to
Yeah.
them, right? If they have to steal from some and steal from another, just kind of kit bash a person.
Yeah.
together.
Heresy has never been a tough decision for chaos to make, for a heretic to do.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it is something
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
probably way more frequently practiced on the chaos
Yeah.
side of things.
but even them, I would imagine it's still a muddied.
I'm sure
lineage.
Well, they
like,
still
there's
have honor
difficulties
and
and
tradition.
things.
Yeah, exactly.
There
Like,
are still a host of things, but it does
yeah.
happen.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So once again, chimeric gene seed is exceptionally rare. Like,
So we could only find 3 loyalist chapters that were even potentially chimeric.
yeah, I think only one of them was
Confirmed, yeah. So if you are going to do this, understand that you have already introduced one of the most special and rare qualities of a chapter.
Yeah.
Like you've instantly made it a special snowflake by saying I'm chimeric gene
And
seed.
you better have a damn good story.
you
I
better
read
write
so many
something
of these
amazing.
ones where it's like, oh, I have this chapter's gene seed and then.
Yeah, like I want to be the best at
Everything.
like guerrilla warfare or like fast strikes. So
Yeah.
I'm like White Scar, but I also want to do siege warfare. So I'm White Scar and
Yeah,
Imperial
it's
Fist
just
gene
like,
seed.
come
And it's
on.
like,
And
what's
you don't
the
even
point of
need
that?
it. You don't even
Yeah,
need it. You could be,
and we get to that later
Okay.
as to why that actually might not even mean anything.
Yeah.
Like the way that you're trained in your culture is versus the actual gene seed that you gain.
So just know if you are going to do this route, you better have a good story. And then the other thing you see is people, for some fucking reason, like to incorporate traitor gene seed into their gene seed.
Yeah, I'm half Ultramarine and half World Eater.
Yeah, exactly. So this is even more like, if you're going to do this, you have to have an amazing reason, and it can't just be because I like both of them.
Yeah, like if you include like traitor gene seed in your chimeric gene seed, you better always be at war with the Inquisition.
Yeah.
Or you
Like,
better only
honestly,
have
like-
5 Marines in your chapter and you're on the
Yeah.
run from the Inquisition.
Yeah, like if-
you would be hunted as heretics.
Yeah, most likely
Like that's
you would
never going to be accepted in the Imperium to use heretical gene seed. Gilliman literally set the standard when he was like, "How dare you
And
think that
yet-
we're going to use it?"
And yet,
What? Who?
it's debatable whether or
Who?
not Cull.
He had it, and Gilliman said we're not using it.
Yeah, but did he
Fuck.
use it?
It
It's
doesn't-
a question.
the-
It's a question. It's a legitimate question that's out there.
If it's ever confirmed that Call does it, Gilliman will come down hard on him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Gilliman's
Sure,
standard
yes,
is
it
that
won't
we
just
do
be
not
accepted.
do
It won't be.
it.
It won't be
Exactly.
publicly
Yes,
accepted.
that's all I'm saying. Is as
Sure.
soon as it's found out, you're on the run.
The
Yeah.
other one too that they think is the cursed founding may have used.
The 21st.
Yeah, I don't know what number they are, but they may have used
23rd.
23rd.
traitor gene seed. I'm just saying they're rare exceptions. And
Oh yes,
there's
yes.
consequences.
And like
with
I said,
that.
you have to have a good reason for it. It's
Okay.
not just I like World Eaters and I like Ultramarines.
Yes, and it was totally sanctioned by the Inquisition, and everyone's cool with it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. That always kind of irks me.
When you mess with gene seed, you elevate your story into like oh my god, like of course you couldn't just be like 99% of all chapters out there who
Yeah.
use like their standard gene
Yeah.
seed.
You kind of Gary Stew them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Gary Stu aspect
yeah.
to it.
And
Yeah.
you can manipulate the gene seed, but to your own detriment.
Yeah, you should never make your gene seed better than what it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not 40K.
That's not 40K approved. I am the arbitrator.
That's right.
What is?
Well,
and is
yeah,
not
you
acceptable.
don't like everyone wants their own thing to be special, but usually making your thing special because what's wrong with them is more interesting. So.
Way
Exactly.
conflict and
Yeah.
troubles are way more interesting
Not
than
me though. I like to make
Superman. I know you like Superman. you
No.
goddamn
I was gonna say I
loser.
like to make all my guys just run of the mill, basic, nothing interesting, nothing to
Oh.
see here.
Yeah, I've suffered many a night reading your lore.
Wow, Christian, I would like another dry cracker. Thank you.
Someone
No.
has to be the common man.
No, I actually think that your lore is also always very solid. Like it's very hard to pick holes in something that like it's not super special, so it does exactly what I would expect generic to do. So it's like it's always
what you're
really
paying for.
strong. It's
I'm
strong in that
President's
regard, you know? All right.
So we've talked about all the gene seed. We've talked about blending gene seed. There, even though like all 19 of these make a Space Marine, we've kind of even mentioned it. Like some of them, you don't really need.
Some are less essential
Some are
for your
less
function as a
essential.
Space Marine than others.
Yeah. So we looked at what it meant to function as a Marine, as super soldier.
Yeah, so we held that definition of super soldier in our mind
Yeah.
and our knowledge of what Space Marines represent, and we tried to say, okay, what could you remove from the gene seed and
Yeah.
still fit into both of these categories?
Yeah. So, and these are the ones that we came up with where you need to have them to be a Space
and
Marine.
you could have your own ideas
Yeah.
for what you think is essential. Like you could say we're missing one or we have one too many or whatever, but
Yeah.
this is just the ones that we thought
Yeah.
were absolutely crucial.
Yeah. And there are chapters that are missing gene seed. So to say like the Imperial Fist, they're missing 2 different gene seed. We'll talk about that later. But to say that they're not Space Marines anymore, like no, they're still Space Marines. They have
Very much
these.
so.
They have these key ones. So these are the key ones. You need your secondary heart. You need the Osmadulu.
The Osmadula, that
So that's the bone growth
bone
one.
growth, yeah.
You need the Biscopia. So that's the muscle growth one.
Yeah.
So now you've got that shape.
So now
that
you
body.
physically changed the body of the Space
Yeah.
Marine.
I'm going to dispute that secondary.
Well, just
part.
wait till we're finished.
Okay.
Wait till we're finished. The hemostamen, which that's the extra hemoglobin and increases oxygen efficiency.
Yeah.
The oolitic kidney, which all the blood flows through, and it supports literally all of those other things that we talked about.
Yeah.
And then we have two other ones in here, progenoids and black carapace.
So
Yeah, you couldn't be a space marine without the black carapace.
Well,
sure.
we'll talk about
Yeah.
it in a
I
minute.
don't
Let's
think-
go deep into the progenoids.
Yeah, the
first.
progenoid first. So on an individual level, an Astartes does not need a progenoid to be created or to function as a space marine.
Yeah.
You do not have to have the progenoid implanted in your body
Yeah.
to be a space marine.
Yeah.
You'll be super strong, super tall. You'll integrate with your black carapace. You'll spit acid.
Yeah.
You'll gain memories. The progenoid literally does nothing for you.
Yeah.
But it does ensure the future of your chapter.
Yeah. So it's not
important
essential
to
to you.
individually.
But if your chapter doesn't have it, like your chapter is no longer existing.
Yeah,
in a
your
couple
gene
hundred
seed
years.
will it's missing that one organ. Your gene seed is just that's what you have, and you've got nothing else. now.
Exactly.
As soon as you die, you're done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is the idea
more.
of like a progenoid though, like you have a limited number of them and you could never make a new one, or can you make them?
No, they grow progenoids from other progenoids.
So usually they'll have
Oh,
a
okay.
tie that goes back to the Imperial Vault.
Okay,
So
sure.
should a chapter, yes, for whatever reason, not be able to produce progenoids, or they get wiped out or something, they could
can hopefully
theoretically
go back
and
to
draw
their
from
bank
the
that they
Okay.
have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Because they grow
reintroduce-
two. That's
I see,
why
I
they
see.
grow two.
Yeah.
Right, that makes
One
sense.
in reserve and one.
Well, both.
Sure.
They do it to create new Marines, but just whatever they harvest, there's an amount that they have to tithe
Back
to
to Martyrs.
the administratum.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm on page.
Yeah. So while it's not essential, it is essential.
It is very essential. Yeah. And that's why we included it here. It doesn't
Yeah.
make you a space marine, but it ensures the survivability of the chapter.
Yeah. And the other one, the black carapace. So I 99% agree with you, James. You need a black carapace to be a space marine. Just let me run a scenario past you, though. So let's say your whole chapter, for some reason, they've gone through all their training, they've got all their upgrades, they've been functioning for hundreds of thousands of, thousands of years, hundreds or thousands of years. Right?
There we go.
And all of a sudden, some warp mutation happens when now they're black carapace across the entire chapter.
The organ
No longer
there's a
works.
disease that specifically targets the black carapace organ.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Everything else works for them good, right? So now, yes, they're not going to be as effective.
Well, could they work in power armor?
Yes, they
without it?
can.
because Sisters of Battle do not have black carapace, and they use power armor.
And even regular
Inquisitors.
yeah.
There's
they
even
use power
Imperial
armor.
Guard regiments that have power
So
armor.
you do not need the black
they're
carapace
specific
to use it.
power armor. Or do
You
they
just
need
get
to
a
get
different. You just get a different power armor.
You just wouldn't be able to uplink to it. So
Yeah.
it does.
You wouldn't operate as effectively.
Yeah. So that's why I say I 99.999% agree. You need the black carapace. Absolutely.
just because we think that power armor is so essential to what it means to be a space marine.
But I could definitely see some good stories like where somebody's black carapace just stopped working.
Yeah.
But he's a veteran of 400 years.
yeah, what do you do
It's
with
like,
this marine who's
like-
black
And the other
carapace? He
thing-
just can't integrate as well. Like,
Space
Yeah.
Marine scouts, right? Like you can fight in carapace armor too. You can fight in. You
Yeah.
don't need your armor to fight necessarily,
yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
it does lessen your ability. If there, was
Yes,
if
yes.
there were
Effectiveness,
1,000
yes.
Marines who no longer could function like in their power armor, like you can't do as much as half of your number can in power armor, right? So there is something about
There's
being
a
able to
drawback,
have it that makes you a space marine.
But,
So
but yeah, it would be a very cool chapter. Like they all just wear scout armor now. Like and they just are super reconnaissance. Like
yeah, I could see that being an
And that's
interesting
how-
thing
yeah.
to build.
Yeah,
But you
exactly.
need to understand that you probably aren't using power armor. You aren't linking with your weapon
Or your
anymore.
vehicles.
You're
Yes.
not linking with your vehicles
Yeah.
anymore. Like your comm systems, like every single electronic
They would.
thing.
I'm sure they would find substitutes though. Like you could always put a headpiece in. Like,
Yes,
you
but
could
all I'm
always-
saying is it's not neurally interlinked with you. So
Yes.
everything is functioning so much shittier without
way
the
less
black
effective.
carapace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
so
Cool, but probably you need it.
yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're
Okay.
doing something super specific.
Now, Christian, what was something that you had?
So the secondary heart.
Sure.
One, I don't think it's absolutely necessary to be a space marine because multiple space marines have had them and lost them and function at peak efficient or as close to peak efficiency as you can tell. Like
Calgar.
Calgar's
Yeah.
one, and so is
But
who's the
you better
Space Wolf
believe that
trickster?
as soon as he gets
Yeah.
back, they're giving
They're
him
giving him a
another
new
heart.
one.
But can they?
Why
Do
not?
they?
Yeah, why not?
I don't see why.
There's
not,
a hole
but
in
do
his
they?
chest at that point. Why don't they just put it in while they heal him.
Sure. I mean, it's possible.
Any-
I'll say it's
Okay,
possible.
okay. So I would say yes. You're right.
The
You
other
don't
one-
necessarily need it.
Hold on.
As soon as you lose that heart, you're no longer not a space marine.
Hold on.
And Calgar did.
And there's no indication that Calgar is like weaker for it, that he's slow and tired
Sure.
and old. Like he's pretty heroic still. The other one is who's the trickster? Lucas the trickster.
Yeah.
He had one of his hearts replaced, did he not, with the stasis bomb?
Yeah.
So he's not even getting a second.
No,
heart
no.
back.
I don't think it was replaced. I think it was added that if both his hearts stop, he blows up. I don't think it was
I
replaced.
think it was replaced, but I
Maybe
could be
it
wrong.
was.
I could be
I-
wrong.
I
I
could
could be
be either.
misremembering. But
yeah.
either way, to me, there's enough examples of one heart space marines that
Sure.
I don't see as
yeah.
necessary. I think it's more of a redundant system. It helps.
I don't think it's a redundancy at all. Like Space Marine bodies like require more, and at some point, like body parts die and fail on you.
Yeah, like you see
right?
like super
I'm-
fat people in our time, like 600-pound people.
Their hearts just are running at max like capacity, and they just can't survive as long. I'm willing to bet that Dante's hearts have been replaced.
Sure, but
At some
until you
point.
can tell me that it actually has happened, like, can you point to?
Well, because
a
we know that
book or
we know
a-
that they age still. Like they don't
right,
have
but
the
until-
immortal gland.
Sure, but you could make any like a space marine's brain can be replaced, right? Like, okay, maybe, but there's no evidence to support that, right? Like,
Sure,
I'm just saying
that's
until there's
true.
evidence, I'm open to it. It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but to me, I don't think it's quite necessary.
Sure. I like when I read it, I definitely feel like it's like pretty essential to it. But yeah, like we wrote this list and we were like, yeah, you might agree or disagree
Yeah.
with what makes it important.
Any others that you didn't like?
I don't know.
Okay. No, I could make that exception for.
A secondary heart.
Yeah. I think though, like even those examples, like I just imagine Calgar has to have his second heart back now if he lost it. I
don't know. I like that someone has that kind of weakness, right? Like,
Yeah, but it's not a
now-
weakness. You just said yourself.
No, but in the sense of like, okay, maybe if he does get a chest trauma again, he's dead,
Oh,
right?
sure.
Like he doesn't have that redundancy.
Except now he's a Primaris, so he definitely got his second heart back.
Oh, wow, okay. You know
No,
what?
now he's got 4 hearts. I've already told you.
Oh yeah,
I thought he wasn't he primarisified.
because he was so mortally
Before.
wounded.
Yeah, but I thought he was primarisified before he lost his heart, wasn't he?
I don't know, man.
I don't know the order of that.
Yeah.
Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
Once again,
You're so defeated.
JamesComplaints@gmail.com.
Also, any criticisms towards me, you can just redirect to James as well. It's also, I think, semi-relevant just to mention that half Space Marines have existed in the past too, because we don't know exactly.
All
where
right,
the,
Lucas's heart has been replaced.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it was ripped out by someone else, and instead of getting a new one, he put a stasis bomb there.
Yeah.
Wired to his current heart and
That
says,
crazy
"All right,
son of a bitch."
whoever kills me is also going to die now."
So yeah,
Yeah.
it might not be essential.
I like to think it is.
I mean, if he
though.
has a bomb in his chest instead of a heart, I think it's
well,
not
that's
essential.
powering his. It's powering his body.
Yeah.
Well, like
Atomic energy.
if you see animals that are bigger, just have bigger hearts too, right? So maybe they just swell
like
the heart.
enough growth hormones is
Yeah.
able to just increase.
Yeah,
like
but
heart
I mean,
growth. Yeah.
you said they have magic blood too, so maybe they don't need the heart because the blood
Yeah.
carries the oxygen more
Maybe.
effectively, right? Like there's other things that can help. I think overlap is what's important here. Overlapping systems, so that that's why if one gets knocked out or if you don't have that gene seed, you have other things that can compensate.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, just quickly on the half space marine thing, it's not totally relevant, but we don't know. So back during the Horse Heresy, they've created half space marines, what they
Yeah.
call it, is elevating regular humans to
With surgeries.
semi-space marine status. They weren't even fully.
Yeah,
on
they
the
weren't
same
space
level.
marines. They were just super soldiers. That's
Yeah.
what
But
makes
they were,
a space
we
but
don't-
they
marine.
but
were
that's exactly
accepted
it.
into the
Into the
cult,
chapter,
into
and,
the
like,
chapter.
Yeah,
broadly,
but
they
most
were
of 'em-
considered a space marine.
Most of them were looked down upon though as lesser.
Not
within
the
the
word bearer
chapter.
ones. Yeah, the word bearer ones seem to fully accept their.
I mean, one of them was a
religious leaders. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's case by case. But my
It
point
They're
is.
just a super soldier.
That's
They're not
more
space marines,
traditional
so-
and cultural.
well, they call them
effect.
half Astartes. So
Yeah.
however, take that however you will.
I take it
Are
as
you
they're
half
just
not or half yes? Is
no,
the glass
they're
half
not.
empty
They're
or
just
half
super
full
soldiers
situation?
that can keep up with space marines. They do not have the gene seed, and that is what makes a space marine a space marine. The genetic code, all these
I
organs.
was just about to say that we don't know what organs they did or didn't.
I don't think they got
But
any.
as soon as-
though. They
as
were
soon as
just
They
given.
never. They don't say. They don't say. So you can't know that. That's all I'm saying. Is there's
Oh,
enough
sure,
room
sure.
for doubt. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, but they don't say they give them the gene seed. So I'm going to say they don't have the gene seed.
What parts of the gene seed?
But
Any
Mark's
of it.
saying any of it.
Any of it.
Like gene seed as in
They-
like you, as a whole. He's saying you get none.
Right, or are they just talking about the gene seed implant?
No.
Right, we don't know. That's my point. We don't know. That's
I know.
all. That's all.
I know.
I'm saying.
They're just super soldiers. They're just
Mark is a purist.
super fucking crazy amped up super soldiers.
No,
They're not
but
Space
then-
Marines.
no, because then
if they
you
were Space
open it
Marines,
up.
they would be Space Marines then. If they had the gene
because then
lineage.
you open it up again
Okay.
to questions.
So I'm just looking at Corpheron,
yeah.
and there is a line here that says Corpheron was found to be too old for gene seed therapy.
So then he is not a
So
Space
then there
Marine.
wouldn't be any gene
Is
seed
that exclusive to
introduced.
him though? What about like?
I think it's age. It's based on age.
No, I know, but there's people like who's the Lion's second in command?
Luther. There's also
Luther.
like
How
Harj
old
of,
was he, though?
Layman Russ's. He's old too. He would
Yeah.
be old.
Anything past the age of like
And
16,
a
it
teenager,
seems,
yes.
is too old. And most of these would have been very old
Yeah.
when they were
Right,
found.
but the problem is, like Mark, if you can keep up with a Space Marine, why do you even bother with Space Marines then?
Because then you have gene seed. Gene
Yeah.
seed is the different.
Why bother
Because
if
it-
you can just create them? We don't know enough about the process. Sure, maybe it's super complicated. Maybe there's
Yeah.
a high mortality rate, but clearly, if an old
You
man
think
can't do it-
Corpheron was as powerful and as like was able to
He's
survive
not, and
everything?
it's-
that's the thing,
That's what
like-
I'm saying because they
It's
lacked,
stated
they
if
lacked
it-
gene seed.
Sure.
They lack the ability to have their eyesight tweaked. They
Yeah.
don't. They can't.
They can't do
change
the
their
mucus.
set.
Do you know that they had their
can't
eyesight
change.
changed?
There's maybe they did, but
Maybe
it's
they were
diff-
replaced
It's
by
a different
bionics.
enhancement than the gene seed. Once again,
Yeah,
what
too
makes
vague.
it?
Why
It's
bother
so
having
vague.
Space
It's
Marines?
too vague.
Why don't we just have custodies?
Because they can't make enough, and each one is handcrafted under.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. It could.
Why don't we
be-
just
Like if
have
anything,
Sisters of Battle?
if anything, those
Why don't we
half
just
marines
have
are
Catations?
closer to like Thunder Warriors than they are to Space Marines because
you
Thunder.
can't say that.
No,
That's
I
my
literally
point.
can say that
No,
because
Thunder
no,
Warriors were more powerful.
that doesn't matter. It's the process.
You're talking
What
about
makes
the level of mutation.
No, he's
put
talking about the
upon-
process.
the process
Yeah.
is
It's
you can
different.
turn
Thunder
anyone
Warriors
into
are
a,
not Space Marines.
Exactly.
It's a totally different.
But they are
process.
genetically written. They are genetically altered.
Sure.
And
Sure.
Corpheron is not,
But they're not Space
genetically
Marines.
altered.
Sure, but they're closer to that. They're closer to just super amped up humans. They don't have the gene seed, so they're not Space Marines by definition.
Right.
Because what
Agreed.
a Space Marine is, so they're closer to Thunder Warriors than they are to Space Marines.
Well, they're
Conceptually.
Conceptually.
Thunder Warriors and Custodies are very close together because they've both been written on the genetic level. Whereas I would put like these guys who are just doing surgeries.
Yeah.
They're just regular humans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But Thunder
Sure.
Warriors and Custodies are in a different level because they're gene crafted.
They're all none of them are the same. Let's say that. But we can all agree, especially Christian can agree.
Yeah.
These
don't
half
that,
Marines
that Primaris are really good.
They are called. They're called half Astartes frequently. That's all I'm going off of. Until
It might
I
just be an
hear,
honorary title
Yeah,
though as
it
well.
is. They're not Astartes because they don't
Sure.
have gene seed.
Whatever. I'm not. we're
Get
not
out
gonna
of
beat
my
this dead
garage.
horse.
I'm setting fire to your car.
All right, should we start the episode now?
Now that we've done the intro.
Yeah, now we can actually talk about gene seed mutation.
Hey, oh. That took a while.
Are we ready?
Is it also a bad time to mention that we already went over all the gene seed in a previous episode?
We did, but not like it's. First of all, it was so long ago,
Sure.
and then not in the same perspective as we are right now.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay, so over the past 10,000 years, gene seed has been replicated so many times that many have experienced some form of mutation. While some mutations are small and offer very little effect, other mutations have caused entire organs to lose their function entirely and are even no longer able to produce them.
Yeah. So just like every time organs are grown, it's like a replication. You're duplicating something,
Yeah.
and then every time you duplicate, there's a chance that something isn't
getting-
duplicated perfectly.
They're getting pixelated, the gene seed.
Exactly. And you can't enhance after a certain point. You
Yeah.
know, like the enhance button doesn't work. But
I've never seen that happen personally.
no, I have never experienced that personally, but I've heard. Sure. So then at some point, just random mutation will happen.
Yeah.
And whether or not this mutation is good or bad or acceptable or heretical is up to the standards of the chapter and
Yeah.
the Inquisition and the Administratum. So, but at some point, like some organs in some gene seed just cannot function anymore.
Yeah.
They've mutated so poorly that they just don't work.
Yeah.
So most flaws within gene seed are due to genetic mutation, like just through growth. It's just a natural progression of mutation and corruption.
Yeah.
But there are a couple examples of foreign bodies interfering with an entire gene seed code and causing the entire code, genetic code, to be altered. So in these examples, there's no single gene seed organ responsible, but the entirety of the code is at fault for the mutation. And we're specifically talking about the Black Rage, the Red Thirst, and the Curse of the Wolfen.
Yeah, there could be other ones too. Like there
It's
could
very
be
possible.
weird warp effects. Anything outside the normal mutation could potentially happen as well.
Absolutely, yes. But it wouldn't matter which gene seed you are implanted with from Sanguinius's line.
Yeah.
As soon as any part of his DNA touches your body, you are immediately infected with the Black Rage and the Red Thirst, though. That's what we're trying to say, that it's not one organ responsible for it, and there's no way of getting around it. This is just part of his DNA.
Yeah. So most flaws are due to genetic mutation. Do we read that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of broke into categories ourselves, these different flaws. We have lost and non-functioning, we have minor flaws, and we have major flaws in the gene seed.
Yeah. So lost and or non-functioning ones are gene seeds that have either lost the ability to recreate certain organs, or the organs that they can grow just don't work.
Yeah, they're just dead organs.
And then the severity of the loss just changes depending on the organ that is no longer usable, right? If your Oolitic kidney isn't working, well, you're kind of fucked. But your Betcher's gland isn't working, who
No big
cares? You
deal.
can't spit acid, right?
So minor, this category represents organs that still function, but at a different level than intended, either less or more. There's examples of both.
Your mutation can be anything. It doesn't just have to be a malfunctioning one. It can be an over-functioning one or an oversensitive thing. And we'll see that a couple times in a couple of the examples that we have later.
These changes are normally pretty minimal and will most likely be largely ignored by the Administratum Adeptus and the Inquisition.
So I wrote that wrong. It's supposed to be Administratum Astartes.
I like that you go back and still autocorrect or fill it.
I changed it.
Even though we're past it.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is a level that is acceptable. By not only yourself but also outside organizations. There's
people
a lot
who
of
specifically are looking for corruption and mutations within your gene seed.
Yeah. So these are minor ones. You can get away with a lot. They're not a big deal. You might have an overactive
melanchromin or homophagia,
and they could be just strictly aesthetic. They don't even.
It could be.
So like my chapter, the droolers, would they have their acid is just always coming out of their mouth?
Yeah,
all
like
the time. It's just oozing down.
They
their
have an
face.
overactive Betcher's gland.
Yeah, it just dripping,
corroding their helmet. Their tech marine's always pissed.
Yep. The drooler chapter.
That's what they're called, eh?
Yeah, the droolers.
That's a shitty chapter.
It's a long and sordid tale.
Sordid.
Yes.
My goodness.
You'll have to do a whole episode just on it.
On the droolers, yep.
And then there's major gene seed flaws. So this represents extreme cases of genetic mutation or even corruption. To have a major gene seed flaw can bring the attention of the Inquisition and can potentially damn the chapter.
Yeah, we obviously will do some examples of this, but these are big things.
Yeah. So major, it's you're pretty much
bad news.
It's not
bad
good.
news bears.
Yeah. So we've thrown around the word chapter a lot. We're just gonna do a quick little thing here on that. Chapters train their aspirants according to their own laws, customs, and culture. They perform their own battle indoctrination, hypnotherapy, and rituals, maintaining war gear and society, ruling as warlords. So the chapters are a group of Space Marines, around 1,000, and they all just do what they need to do.
Hold on one second.
Yeah. I was hoping that it wouldn't just stop, but
Why would it?
Did you delete the last video?
I did, but it's full.
Shit.
We lost this episode as well.
fantastic.
Do you have any episodes then?
No. We need to.
Yeah. It would be so hard to record something on video.
Apparently it is.
Suddenly I have so much more respect for all those YouTubers.
But the way we're doing it with one continuous shot is very hard. Because no one does a single continuous shot anytime they record. It's always multiple cameras, quick shots, and they use real cameras and not camcorders.
Right. You mean Joe Rogan?
Their audio is a different hookup than ours, and yeah, anytime. Anyways,
You want to write down a timestamp of when this happened?
yeah, 80 minutes.
Okay.
I'll cut this.
Yeah.
I won't get Jordan to do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, this category represents organs. That's still. Just kidding.
Okay. Do you want to start with?
We'll just start off with chapters again.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay.
All the love I was making to the camera is all gone.
Yeah, it's all
I
gone.
was jerking off back here the whole time.
Oh, damn it.
Your hands were even above the table. You're still jerking off,
With his knees.
Just with his legs.
Between his
pinching it.
It's not
All
that,
right.
It's not that long, Eric. It doesn't even reach my thighs.
Wait,
It goes like,
Christian,
It's like
it's more of a chode.
a nub, even.
How you impregnated your wife, we'll never know.
I didn't. I told you. I never had sex once.
gotta keep my virginity pure.
My gene seed.
my precious gene. She's always trying to take my gene seed.
That gene witch.
She's trying to craft something with it.
Yikes. Okay.
All you guys got to get some bitches pregnant. Then you'll know.
I don't want to ruin my life, though. So.
Do you
Your
wanna-
life is already ruined. You've done that yourself.
Do you want to pick it up, Marcus?
Sure.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about chapters real quick and successor chapters and just define them because it plays a big role in gene seed flaws.
Yeah,
It just
and also
plays
understanding what like it actually means to define a chapter versus like the gene seed aspect of it, and then the tradition value
Yeah.
side of a chapter.
Yeah.
So
chapters train their aspirants according to their own laws, customs, and culture. They perform their own battle indoctrination, hypnotherapy, and rituals. They maintain war gear.
they run societies.
They have their own warlords, but
Yeah.
a chapter usually will consist of 1,000 Marines and support staff, and
Yeah, but how they interact even with each other within their own hierarchy is very different chapter to chapter.
Yeah.
And it's all based around their cult
Yeah.
and their culture and how they view their like whether they view the emperor as a divine being or not.
Yeah,
Like
some do,
that's
some
part
don't.
of like their theology and part of like their founding like characterizations, right? So every chapter is very unique that way.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. But then there's also gene seed. But then there's also their gene seed
Yeah.
uniqueness, right?
Yeah, so and chapters will only use gene seed from within. Like they won't go and take.
They will
another
not do
chapter.
chimeric gene seed.
They
It
will
is not a
not.
normal practice.
No. They are also responsible to sending gene ties to the administratum. So if we mentioned it earlier, if something does happen to their gene seed, they will take their own gene seed back from the administratum.
It's like a
That they-
previer version that is less corrupted.
Exactly.
Or that they
Yeah.
have stores
But it's like a
of.
save game, right?
Yeah.
You can go
But
back.
it is still very much coming from their chapter specifically.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if they run out of stock, that's a dead chapter now.
Unless there's a mistake in the paperwork.
My God.
Yeah,
like
and
we-
like anything can happen,
Yes.
but no one is intentionally.
Yeah, you can't say, "Oh, well, we want ultramarine genes."
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
You always want to pull from your own chapter.
Yeah. So they were responsible for keeping their gene seed as pure as possible, protecting it from any mutation and corruption. So the chapter's apothecaries will do all the tests needed and make sure everything's working properly.
Yeah. Any ties that they send to the administratum, they're not sending lesser gene seed there. They're sending good
best.
gene
Yeah.
seed stock to the administratum.
Because the administratum is also checking. too.
Absolutely.
Like,
And
hey,
they want to know like how corrupt are you,
Yeah.
right? Like cuz they view the purity of gene seed and your corruption is
Yeah.
very synonymous for them.
Also, like, yeah, you would want to send your best because it is like that fallback plan. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, if we lose everything, we have something good to draw from. If you send your worst, you're going to draw from
Exactly.
worst.
Yeah. And so just imagine how many like gene seeds are destroyed because like they're harvested and they're like, man, the corruption level is just too high in this one. We can't risk it being carried forward in our lineage as a chapter, right? Like,
Yeah.
So not every gene seed that's harvested even is
Gets
either
recycled.
is put into a new marine or tithed. Some of them are just straight up destroyed.
Yeah. On rare occasions, if a chapter experiences a shortage in gene seed, whether due to loss of life or a particularly strong mutation, they may requisition it back. We've basically said that.
We've said that.
So,
Yes.
so that's what
Successors.
chapters are. So chapter is an organization, self-contained, about 1,000 guys in it doing their thing.
Or more. Sometimes more.
Very rarely more.
And sometimes ruling over planets.
Oh,
the
sure.
entire population.
But that has everything to do with their culture and their
Yeah.
cult,
Yeah, I know.
and nothing to do with their gene seed.
Yeah, but it ties in.
Some people assume it has to do with their gene seed.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, and that's what's
Well,
crazy.
those people are dead wrong, and I will
Dumb
hunt you
shitidiots.
down.
Yeah.
So we've talked about
Idiots.
chapters. Now let's talk about specifically what it means to be a successor chapter.
Yeah, so successors are still chapters. They
Yes.
still have their own thing. They're still doing their own
And
thing.
literally 99.99% of all chapters are successors.
Yes.
There are
the
only
Grey
like
Knights.
9 chapters that aren't successors.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is either a traitor legion or a founding legion that turned into a chapter, and they are
Yeah.
not successors.
Yeah. So,
Granites being one of
That's
the
right.
exceptions. Yeah.
That's right. The only exception.
Who?
You said there were 6 or 9?
9.
9. Oh,
8
you're
loyalists.
talking, right, you're talking about the
8 loyalist
Yes.
There'll be
legions
9
and Grey
loyalists.
Knights.
Right.
there's 10.
There's,
nine.
oh, sorry. Right. Sorry. Yeah. 9 loyalist legions and Grey Knights. Those
And
are the
in
only
theory,
ones that
you
are
could
not.
do the unknown ones, but you probably should.
No,
But
that's
you could
also
in
not
theory.
something anyone should ever do,
Well,
ever.
those aren't chapters or successors.
But you could say your lineage is from an unknown. You could. That's why they existed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But you'd still be a successor then.
I wonder,
Yes, yes,
like,
yes.
throwing it
But
out there,
you're saying 9 or
how
10.
would you guys
10.
react if someone made their genetic lineage to one of the, like, if it was a Primaris only army,
Yeah.
and that one of the mysterious...
Can we
chap-
redact this? It's Primaris.
If
No, so-
if it was from one of the two, like,
unknown.
unknown...
So I'm going to
Paul
say...
had those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to
so why
say
not?
they fall into the same category as, like, the traders' gene seed. Like, they have them, but...
Oh, they
like,
wouldn't
like,
use them?
Gilliman refused to use those Marines that had those missing Primarchs
Yeah.
genetic code.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
they're redacted. Like, they're this
Whether or not
huge
Cole
thing.
did.
Like, Gilliman, like, even tries
Yeah, that's
to
all
talk
I'm
to
asking
people.
is if Cole
Yeah.
would have done it.
Like, who knows what Cole would have done?
Cole
but
seems
on
pretty
order,
heretical.
No,
He
he's
does
just
a lot. He does a lot of stuff on his own. He beats his own drum.
No, he
drums his own beat.
literally just follows what Reboot Gilliman has told him.
Well,
No,
he
he
interprets things differently. Like he should have known, like, you can't use heretical gene seed,
That
and yet
is-
he interpreted it as no. I'll make this gene seed anyway. Like,
I don't know. I think Cole's pretty by the book and follows exactly what Reboot Gilliman says. And my main reason for that would be, 10,000 years went by and Cole didn't.
Also, there's a whole
Didn't
thing
release
about
the-
Cull not remembering who he is and a whole bunch of stuff too. So it's complicated.
anyways,
Like everything. it's
Anyways,
complicated.
Nah, it's all pretty.
Gilliman
cut and
didn't
dry.
like it.
It's pretty simple.
Okay. I was just curious.
Fight you.
So it can exist, sure, but it's definitely not sanctioned and it's definitely not approved.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where if you do that route, come up with a good reason. There has to be some.
What's the drawback?
Yeah, there has to
Are
be.
they always in hiding? Do they fervently kill anyone who tries to investigate, like, their gene seed origins?
Yeah.
What's the flaw that they deal with? Like, just don't be like, I'm this gene seed, so now I'm perfect.
Yeah, and then definitely don't write anything about. When we actually know about the Unknown Legion and what happened. Like,
Oh, yeah. We know their secret history. Oh, we're just dark angels, but different.
interesting.
Anyways.
So almost all chapters come from the genetic lineage of the founding 9 legions.
Yes. While they may or may not carry on the traditions and beliefs of their genetic primogenitors, they will always inherit the genetic flaws and mutations of the gene seed from their direct contributor at the time of their creation. This is going to be a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So we'll try and go slow, but this is going to be tough.
It is even possible for a successor to have a more pure form of gene seed than their gene sire. This would happen if a gene sire's gene seed was mutated, corrupted, after the creation of the successor. So
Yeah.
the best example of this is the Imperial Fist.
Fist, yeah.
They currently in 40K are missing 2 organs. When they founded the Black Templar and the
Which
Crimson
was
Fist,
immediately following.
this was 7 years after
It was
Horus
literally
Heresy.
Imperial Fist that just painted their armor differently.
Exactly,
They never found it,
yes.
So
There was no corruption, no flaw in the gene seed at that time. So at that point, you have a splitting
A
off.
divergence, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Black Templars no longer shared gene seed with Imperial Fist, and Imperials no longer shared gene seed with Black Templar. So any flaw that happened in Imperial Fist stayed in their lineage
Yeah.
and missed the Black Templars completely.
Yeah. So we don't know when the Imperial Fist lost those organs, but let's just say M35. So any chapter after M35
As
is
a
gonna-
random number.
yeah,
Yeah.
is going to have that same flaws, those same defects. Anything before, it's going to create their own thing.
Yeah. So if you wanted to build like a chapter, an Imperial Fist successor chapter that actually had a very pure gene seed, like you could conceivably say like pick a date like a very early founding for your successor chapter, right? Like
the earlier the better.
Yeah. And then some are also like you have that flaw no matter what. Yeah. Like isn't there like a night? What's the skin one? Like very pallid skin color.
Like Raven Guard.
Yeah, like they had those from day one.
Yeah.
You cannot be as a Raven Guard successor chapter and not have that flaw.
Yeah. Unless somehow it mutated back. Like,
which is possible,
it's
but again,
possible,
how good
but
reason?
once again, it's just,
reason.
It's not the chances of it mutating back to exactly how it was or to mutating on some other thing is way more likely.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're looking then for a very specific combination of genetic code as opposed to any random assortment of mutation. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So successor chapters can also create other chapters with their gene stock. So while a chapter may not have a direct tie to a legion, their gene seed originated from them.
Yeah. So the Black Templars could found another chapter.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're founded from Black Templars, but they were founded by Imperial Fist. Yeah. So your gene seed goes all the way back to Rogel Dorn.
Yeah.
Dorn's all the way down.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, so following this logic, we can find that every single chapter that uses the Blood Angel gene seed will be affected by the Black Rage, seeing as it was imprinted into the code before the creation of the Codex Astartes and the second founding. Thank you, Christian, for editing that. But that's like the statements we just said should make that like 100% true statement.
Yeah.
Every single successor to the Blood Angels should suffer from the Black Rage.
Yeah. And yet...
Which one doesn't?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, he had a smile on his face, and I was like, God damn it.
But yeah, basically what we're saying is we're going to go into a list of everything here that we were able to find. And
without looking through literally every single chapter listed, because there's over 300.
So some chapters fall into the category of, well, obviously all Blood Angels have the Black Rage, and all their successors have the Black Rage. So we're not going to literally name every Blood Angel one.
Yeah, because there's so many. People love the Blood Angels, right?
But if you just say if they're Blood Angel successor, you assume
they always have their
exactly
and the potential for the Black Rage.
No, they haven't.
In their genetic code, yeah.
So if we miss your favorite chapter when we're going through this and their flaw, the chances are good they fall into one of the above statements. Either their successor or, however that works. It's just, we're not mentioning every little fucking thing.
They're carrying a flaw that existed in their father.
Exactly.
And so we're not going to say all the flaws that Blood Angels have, because we're just going to say Blood Angels have this, and so do all their successors.
And some might argue they're practically flawless, so...
Yeah.
Blood Range and all.
They would have the dumb. So another possible...
I have the dumb now.
You have the dumb pretty bad.
I've got the dumb.
Yeah. Oh, we already talked about
this.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to start off with the list of non-functioning and lost gene seed. And surprisingly, this is
very small.
Yeah, very rare. Small. Most chapters have a full complement of their gene seed. So the only two that don't are the Imperial Fist and the Raven Guard. So the Imperial Fist lost the Becher's gland and the Suzanne membrane. So they can't spit acid and they can't go into that sleep.
The stasis
sleep.
Yeah. But you could conceivably say that the Black Templar can do both of those things.
Yeah.
Or the Crimson Fists or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So.
Quick exception to Imperial Fists. They were wiped out to a man during the War of the Beast too. So
but what was their tithe?
Right, and I don't remember. I didn't finish the series.
Yeah, so they
I don't know if
drew from other of their successors and rebuilt their chapter.
Right, but so when did the flaws come in?
Yeah, who knows?
We don't know. They don't.
Right, you could also say that the Black Templar are missing the Becher's gland and the Suzanne membrane. We just don't know when it happens.
Right, because it's possible like that. It mutated for the Imperial Fist and the Black Templar at roughly the same time.
Very possible. It also could be that some genetic code just has the higher chance of doing the same mutation.
Yeah, the same way if like your parents had a certain kind of cancer, you might develop.
Exactly. So it's hard to say.
I'm not a geneticist.
No.
But you are a gene witch.
Yes.
So the other chapter that's missing, or legion or chapter or whatever, are the Raven Guard. And they're missing the mucinoid and the Becher's gland.
So they can't do the mucus on their skin to protect them, and they can't spit acid.
Yeah.
So like these two things that are lost, all of this shit pretty low impact.
Yeah.
Not being able
Non-essential.
to. Yeah, exactly. So all of these guys are still very much very above and beyond what we consider space marines.
Yeah.
No one is lessened by missing these.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a little less.
Oh, I mean, a little less, but it's not like a lot. It's a little. Everybody loves a little bit.
I like how the most useless one is definitely the acid one.
The
That's
Betcher's
one
plan?
that they
Yeah, has
decided
any
to get
author ever written that?
rid- Yeah.
I'm mad that they don't, though, because I like it.
You know what? Knowing you, as soon as someone wrote it, you'd be like, I don't like how you did it. You'd be like, you did it dumb. I'm leaving.
I quit.
The spit wasn't sticky enough. I need
That's right,
spit,
yeah.
sticky spit.
It didn't feel like the spit was coming out of the page at me.
So now we have a list of minor mutations. So the blood drinkers we're going to start off with. And they have a potential exacerbated homophagia gland that gives them a strong craving for blood.
Yeah. So all like that thirst for blood, at the very least, blood ritual is
Yeah.
very strong in all of the Blood Angel successor chapters.
Yeah. They have
But-
something called the red thirst, which we'll get
Yes.
into. But
But these blood drinkers, it seems to be beyond what is normally like a cult or ritual thing.
Yeah.
They seem to crave blood through this. And they never mention the homophagia gland, but we would assume this is what
Yeah.
is like there's a flaw or a mutation beyond regular successors
Yeah.
in these guys that is actually making them crave blood.
Yeah.
So.
yeah.
And that's just
The-
like, it's a minor.
yeah, your
flaw.
life's going to go on. Like if the administratum sees that, they're like, that's
There's al-
weird.
But there's already so many blood drinking
Yeah, yeah.
and flesh eating rituals
Yeah.
within Space Marines that they're like, well, you guys drink a little more blood than other people, but like,
how much blood?
right, yeah,
How much
like,
blood
what's
is
the
normal?
actual problem? You know, like,
I mean, they're doing their duty for the emperor.
exactly.
So it doesn't
yeah.
really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have the blood ravens. They have a mutation in the Caspelian node,
Nope.
Catalopian,
That's closer. Cataleption node.
and has caused them to have the inability to experience REM sleep. They also have like
Really pallid skin, right?
yeah,
Don't they? I seem to remember reading
no.
that about the blood.
maybe they do. I don't think they do.
I'll
They,
just do
they
a quick
ha-
check.
they have a genetic trait where they like to dye the tips of their hair.
They also have a
Blonde.
genetic tip.
Whoa!
Genetic tip.
They have a genetic. What do you call them? Evolution thing.
You got the dumb pretty.
I got the dumb. Where they like to steal stuff. Right?
Exactly.
That's the thing too.
They're kleptos.
Kleptomaniacs.
Yeah. They also experience dreams very differently. I think it comes off as more real for
Well,
them.
that's can just go right back to the REM.
Yeah.
If you can never ever enter like restful sleep, how does that mess up your psyche?
Yeah.
So they might
Right.
just
And
be
that's
hallucinating because they're freaking awake
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, but that's like a consequence of the gene seed.
Not
That's
necessarily
that's
a
not the
side
gene
effect.
seed itself.
Yeah.
Who that's doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have the death specters, a defective melanchromic organ caused the death specters to become albino. So this is a very common thing in a lot of chapters.
Just skin color variation.
Yeah,
really.
like there's two major chapters, Raven Guard and Salamanders, that have the opposite end of the spectrum of what this will do to you.
Yeah, like one's like a super hyperactive one, and one's
Yeah.
like a reduced
function.
function. Yeah.
Are the death specters a successor to the Raven Guard?
I don't know. While you're looking that up, I will talk about the excoriators. So the excoriators have a flaw in the cataleption node that causes a sickness to be experienced. So it manifests as a wretched palsy, a slackness of the jaw, tremor of the limb, and blankness of the eye. So they really just look like zombies, effectively, when this like sickness happens. But they'll tell you, like, when they're experiencing it, they're reliving the nightmare that was felt by Dorn when the Emperor was struck down. And I really don't like this one, personally. It just speaks too much of, like, Sanguinius's imprint upon the blood.
Yeah, like
blood
Dorn,
angels.
like Sanguinius, the whole reason is it's psychic. Dorn, I don't think was really a psyker. Like
No,
they
he
all,
had zero psychic ability.
Is that confirmed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
he
lots
talks with Malkador about it,
Yeah.
and Malkador says we specifically did not give you any psychic gifts,
Okay.
because your desire to master it would cause you to experience madness immediately, because you can't master the warp. So he specifically has no
that's nice.
warp ability.
But these other guys,
We're gonna give him something special.
Because
Magnus, nothing could go
They
wrong.
also they designed him to want to master things.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Magnus wanted to learn and explore, but he had no desire for mastery. That was what Malkador explained was the difference.
Right.
And, but anyways, like I don't like this
so
one.
why that happens? It's
Yeah.
it's a little weird. Like,
If anything, I see it like that whole saying that it's Dorn thing like is unrelated.
Yeah.
And they just use it as like an excuse for their sickness or palsy or whatever. Like I definitely see like there's a flaw in the genetic code. But when they're doing it, if you've heard like, oh man, when the sickness comes, you're gonna feel the same way that Dorn felt. Then when it comes, you're already expecting to experience that.
Yes.
And you experience
It could
it,
be
but
like-
it's nothing.
it's more psychological.
Exactly.
So there
Or
is
like a
flaw.
religious reading into it.
Exactly,
Like a physical effect. It's like, oh, the demons got you, you know?
Yeah, I
You
definitely
got the
don't.
corona demon.
The Dorn, the Dorn aspect into this is not genetically related.
Exactly.
When I read this,
I could agree. Yeah.
yeah.
So then we have the Salamanders, and they have malfunctioning melanchromic organ again. Combined with the radiation of the planet on Nocturne, caused these Astartes to have onyx black skin. So I'm curious, like, if this has now ruined their gene seed, if they make successors, which are very rare for them.
For salamanders?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they leave the planet, they're no longer affected by the radiation.
Yeah, because it seems to be a combination of environmental factors combined with the gene seed.
It is odd how theirs explicitly says in combination with their radiation.
But like after 10,000 years or whatever, like maybe it's just seeped into their gene seed or whatever.
Yeah, maybe
so.
they know it's coming anyway, the darkening of the skin, so their body already prepares them for it and changes all their skin. Who knows?
Yeah.
It could just be that the melanchromic reacts to stimulus very strongly.
Yeah,
in
so
them.
even they expose any
so
sunlight.
no matter what planet they go to, their skin is changing on a drastic level based on their radiation stimulus.
Sure.
It could be that. Yeah, it doesn't matter like what planet they're on. They're always going crazy.
Another mutation experienced by the salamanders is the fire sight. Their eyes are able to see an infrared spectrum, potentially due to a mutation in the oculobe.
Yeah, it never explicitly says that their oculobe is mutated, but that's
It
what
would
has to
make
do with the
sense.
eyes.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm assuming.
they do have red eyes, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their fire sight. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a difference too with having externally red eyes and seeing.
Yeah,
in
no,
the
you're
infrared.
right. Yeah. I think that's just a physical manifestation of the mutation.
And also, they don't permanently see an infrared. It seems like from your
No,
notes.
they have, like,
It
the
says
ability
to
to.
switch into
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and switch back.
Yeah.
Theoretically,
yeah, maybe they just have like weird
That's why
lenses.
they like
that have
fire.
grown.
That's the only thing they can see is just heat. So
they're like
otherwise we're blind.
So that's why they put everything on fire so
they can see
so
their
they can
enemies.
actually see it. Like there's a wall in
That's
front of
canon.
you. I'll wait till I light it on fire. Then I'll see there's a wall in front of you.
Cannon.
Cannon.
All right,
canon.
so next we have the Raven Guard. So the Raven Guard also exhibits pale skin and dark eyes, potentially meaning that there's some mutation in their melanchromic organ as well.
Yeah. Then we have the Raptors, who really just amp up the Raven Guard's mutation to the next level, where instead of turning white, it almost becomes translucent. So it just takes it another step further.
Yeah, like there's no like opaqueness to the skin at all. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You could just see like blood vessels and muscles through their skin.
Tendons and how
That's
crazy
cool.
is that?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be very
Near
cool.
translucent.
Imagine
so-
trying to draw
Is
like paint that on a model
that
with like exposed flesh somewhere on like their head or whatever.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool. So you just paint like little veins and
Yeah.
try and like make the skull
Or, like,
shape
muscle?
pull out more.
like
and
on like having to draw like muscle on it and stuff.
I wonder to
That'd be
what
cool.
degree though.
Yeah, we don't know.
Translucency, right? Like it could just
you
be,
could interpret that however you wanted
Yeah.
though if you were painting up raptor models.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's the difference in mutation level between one versus another? Like no one is the exact same either. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, translucence is very vague. Like until it says you can actually see right through the skin.
yeah, of course.
Like, do they just look veinier than normal?
Yeah.
just because I've seen some pretty pale people in real life, and I'm just like,
Haven't seen translucent
But it's still
people, though.
pale is still opaque, right? There's no
yes,
There's no
but
level
there's
of
official artwork
translucence.
of raptors.
Yeah, but
skin
also,
specifically,
like,
it's kind of just what I'm thinking about.
so many
I think it's
authors
cool
in
to be
40K don't know what the fuck they're doing.
right. Yes, and
like-
you are the arbiter of all knowledge.
No, I'm just saying, like, how often do we have these people that don't actually know even any of these organs?
Right, and
Like-
they're like, "Oh, this is cool. I'm just going to do this."
Yeah,
and
exactly.
not actually do any research. Yes.
Exactly. I'm sure that happens all the time because you can find many examples
Sure.
of it.
Yes,
So,
but I'm
You
sure the
can see
raptors
either.
make appearances in novels, and they don't probably describe their musculature underneath their skin. And they might.
It
I
might
could
only
be wrong.
even be like this only happens to 5% of raptors.
Sure.
Not every raptor suffers
Yeah,
from
like
this.
all of us are very, very pale, but there's those exceptional mutations where their skin
They go to the
disappears
extreme.
Yeah,
completely.
and that would be cool if you did a successor of the raptors.
That they
where-
all were.
yeah,
you
their
could
the
just
mutation
see-
is so
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see. There's like
They've
no
just been
skin
giving that,
visible. It's
organs
just
away,
muscle.
those
Are you a
GC?
fan of the Power Rangers? Do you know Lord Z? He had his skin all flayed from him in the children's show, but that's what he looks like. It's just like raw muscle.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty dark
Is
for a
it?
kid's show.
That's cool.
I thought it was sweet. You can see his brain
That's
exposed
cool.
in the top.
What?
Yeah,
All right. They cut his skull open too.
I don't know how it works, man.
Well,
It's
his
Power Rangers.
No, no,
bones
no.
are translucent.
if,
as
your
soon as
skin-
you.
if you can see through your skin, you can see your brain.
No, you can't. You have a skull.
Right. That's on the page after how to build a nuclear bomb.
I haven't got there yet. All right, Carcharodon. We're still in the minor mutations
Yeah,
here.
they get cooler.
Yeah, so Carcharodons have a pale, almost deathly pallor. So they are also known for their liquid black eyes, and both of these things are known for mutations in the Melon chromic organ.
Yeah.
So as you can see, a lot of these is just how they physically look
Superficial,
on skin and eye color.
Yeah. One neat thing about the Carcharodons is I'm pretty sure they're 100% confirmed that they do have chimeric gene seed. So they
Yeah.
use Night Lords and Raven
They
Guard.
might even use World Eater.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, a thing on the black eyes thing. Like, we're talking not just like the eye color, like the whites of their eyes are black too, right?
Yeah,
like they're black,
like very
pools,
much
like a shark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very predator.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, what about this one? The Mantis Warriors, they have jade green eyes. Is that more?
that
They
better?
also can punch so fast. Breaks the sound barrier.
They don't even use bolt guns; they just punch the
once
air.
again, it's jamescomplaints@gmail.com.
He's destroyed psychologically.
Yeah, so once again, the Mantis Warriors, that just has to do with the oculobe. You know, something has turned their eyes green now.
And then the last one we have for minor mutations are red scorpions. And an overactive Becher's gland causes an increased amount of poison to be produced.
Droolers.
Droolers.
So now we know that the Droolers are a successor of the red scorpions.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
It's also ironic because the red scorpions pride themselves on their genetic purity.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, purity we kind of put is like a little different than a mutation. Okay,
We'll
I
talk
would
about it a
argue
little.
not.
Yeah. No, well, maybe purity is the wrong word, but we kind of said like there's a difference between like the goodness of your gene seed versus the level of mutation that's happening. You can be very mutated and still have like anyways.
Consistency.
Anyways, yeah. Okay. Let's go on to major mutations now. These are ones that you actually have to be careful about.
Yeah, but these are the ones that are actually interesting. So we're going to start off with the black dragons. So,
Yes, the black dragon Osmodula, which is responsible for bone growth. So their Osmodula has mutated, producing bony crests on their heads and blades from the forearm and elbow. I see. Bony crests on their heads
And blades.
on the forearm and elbow.
yeah.
So the black dragons will often then dip their bones into liquid adamantium to increase the bone's durability, allowing them to be used as weapons.
Yeah. There's some really cool models. Like,
That's super cool. I've never heard of them before.
yeah.
Really?
There's a couple that are like very much like Wolverine, essentially. Like whoever
Yeah.
came up with this chapter, like
Yeah,
Wolverine.
very much liked that,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
mutant.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Like
it's
the horns coming out of the head. That's cool.
Yeah. Elbow spikes, freaking
I like it.
finger spikes.
I'm a fan.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 would
Cool to do a Darth Vader
not
one.
do my whole army again.
The next major mutation we have are blood angels and all their successors. So the flaws that we have in Blood Angels are the red thirst and black rage. And so the red thirst is a genetic flaw deeply embedded into the Blood Angels gene seed and causes warriors to suffer an unusual bloodlust and normally instills within them a thirst for the blood of their enemies.
Yeah. And at this point, they start to quarantine. So this is the difference between like the blood drinkers and the Blood Angels.
They both suffer from the red thirst.
Yeah, and they both start to crave blood. But when the Blood Angels start to crave blood, they put them away into like their death company squads, and it's way more like
it's a source of shame.
Yeah, exactly. Where the blood drinkers, I think like all of them are affected by it. They all want to drink blood.
But there's
the
a
time.
lot of blood drinking rituals that they do either, and that's the difference between culture and gene seed.
Yeah,
both of them are affected by this gene seed, but they act very differently in how they
deal with
interact with it because of their culture.
So the other huge flaw of the Blood Angels and successors is the black rage. All the chapters derived from the Blood Angels still suffer from the psychic imprint left by Sanguinius's death. This can cause them to go insane prior to or during a battle, and they believe that they are Sanguinius himself during the Battle of Terra. This condition is irrevocable.
Yeah, you can't ever get rid of the black rage. There's
there.
no cure for it.
Unless they bring Sanguinius back.
Isn't there one
cure his
Marine
son.
that claims to have beaten the black rage, or is it the red
Lamartis
thirst?
can
Lamartis,
control
yeah.
it, but he
Control
cannot.
it.
And
yeah.
Mephiston.
But he's still tempted by it.
Oh yeah,
see.
I guess
And Mephiston
Mephiston
says he's beaten it.
Yeah,
But he's a whole other bag of potatoes.
Yeah.
He's been primarisified.
He has been. But there's even more
Well,
to
it
his
cured
story
him,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Crossing the Rubicon.
Yeah, he no longer has any gene seed problems.
He no longer has any gene seed.
They removed all
problems.
Yeah. So when a space marine is overcome by the black rage, he is reborn into a world of anger, hatred, fury, and nothing else. So as well as Sanguinius's memories, the Blood Angel is touched with a small portion of his unearthly power, boosting his strength and vitality to superhuman levels. It's also described that they believe that they are Sanguinius.
Yeah.
They believe that they are actually fighting on Terra in the siege, and that they are close to dying, and that's this rage. So it's not just like a rage that comes over him. They're psychically altered to the point of where they see themselves as him.
Yeah.
And that's a big distinction, especially because this is a psychic. This is a psychic thing. It's not genetic. Like there's no measure of corruption for this.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can't say like, well, they're impure because this organ has the black rage. Like, no, there's like a weird warp thing that we don't fully understand.
Yeah.
Why this follows every Blood Angel.
Like the Blood Angels are my favorite chapter. I love them. So all this stuff is so cool to me. Like I love that.
Yeah.
It's like I am Sanguinius fighting.
Yeah,
That's
and
so
like
cool. I love it.
Sanguinius is described like he's seen his own death. So like during the Battle of Terra, he's like willing to throw himself into combat.
He's constantly like doing these crazy things that Dorn is always pissed off about him for doing.
Yeah,
and
it's like-
every time like his captains are like, no, like my lord, please don't do that. He's like, I've seen my death and it is not this day.
Yeah.
and he keeps saying it so often that all of them like get really worried and nervous about it because they're like, why does he keep referencing that? Why does he keep saying it? So
Yeah.
it's like already building up to a point, a thing of contention in their chapter.
So you could see why like any Blood Angel that suffers from the black rage would be berserkers because they think they're Sanguinius and they're not dying.
Yeah, they're literally like they've seen their death. It's not now, but they know it's soon.
Yeah,
so
so
they're
they
gonna
just-
go into a rage.
They're gonna go hard,
and you
until
can't
they do.
fight this fate either.
Yeah.
right. That's another thing that Sanguinius dealt with is the fact that he saw his death and he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And the same like sickness, mind sickness, comes over these Marines too. Is that they can't fight against their fate no matter how hard they
Yeah.
do it. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
So the
Magnificent.
so these Astartes that are afflicted from the black rage will suffer a slow, insane death. They will eventually go insane if they're not
Put down
put down
or
essentially.
just killed.
Yeah.
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 Gosh.
Now my favorite chapter. We're all getting what we want. The Space Wolves.
The Space Wolves. Yikes.
So When trying to
Why?
unpack this, there's
Stop
just
it.
so much to
Well, the
it.
Space Wolves is very different than the Blood Angels. The Blood Angels is probably, it makes the most sense because it's psychic and we can just chalk it up to
It's psychic.
it's psychic. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole warp fuckery.
Whereas Space Wolves is genetic. There's not much psychic evidence that when I was reading, like
No, it's all genetic.
yeah, it's an actual physical thing, so it should be physically dealt with. And yet, for some reason, we have decided not to.
Yeah.
And we've left this curse of the Wolfen to run rampant
Apparently,
through
too,
the
like
Space Wolf company.
we'll get into it, but apparently, like, if you don't get what's called the Canis Helix,
The Canis Helix, yeah.
yeah, like none of your organs will work.
This is another
So
reason
it's
why
like-
it's bullshit, because
It's
so
bullshit.
then you like have to
the
go into
original
like,
Marines, Marines that were made when all the
Terra.
Primarchs left Luna, right?
Yeah.
They would have been made without this Canis Helix.
Yeah.
And that GNC would have functioned perfectly.
Yeah.
And yet, for some reason, as soon as Russ is found and he's like drinks from this cup, it's like, no, your gene seed will never work without this anymore.
unless you're Primaris, because Primaris
Right,
don't
because they don't
from-
drink from the Canis Helix.
Yeah, so it's all a big old clusterfuck.
It's all a lie.
Maybe they're poisoning themselves with this. They poison themselves so they need
That's
the
what it
thing.
is. It's a genetic poison. It alters your genetics. Like this Canis Helix, it does give you stronger senses. It makes you faster. It makes you stronger. It makes you bigger. Like it
It
literally
also
describes
turns you
it as,
into a loser. So it's
it describes it as doing that.
is
right?
it worth it?
Like it's genetically altering you. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, let's actually get into our notes of it without just me rambling. The Canis Helix is a mutation of normal gene seed that gifts the wolves with enhanced abilities beyond even those of other Astartes, including hyperacute senses of smell and hearing, elongated canines that can dent plasteel, and leathery resilient skin. So this does alter them physically.
Yeah.
The Canis Helix is the first and most essential component of gene seed implanted into aspirant space wolves, and during the final stage of their initiation. So during the test of Morkai, the aspirants drink a formula containing the helix from the cup of Wolfen and undergo a violent transformation where they effectively turn into like wolves. Their skin, like their bones break and buckle and they reshape. Like hair sprouts from their bodies and they revert to like a bestial state where all they want is like they hunger for blood and flesh. Anyways, but if you don't take this Canis Helix, no other gene seed works.
Yeah.
So you have to
through
pass
this
the test of
process,
Morkai in order to be a space wolf. But it seems like it's a cool ritual. I enjoy it as a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike it for the fact that if you don't do it, your gene seed just will fail.
Yeah.
That's
And then also, so if you don't pass this test, you become a wolfen, and then you become a wolf, and then there are no wolves on Fenris. So technically, all the space wolves are wearing.
I'm so tired of
But
that.
then at the
meme.
same time, all the wolves are on Fenris.
But they're
because
also all
used to be
humans, and it's all just a big old fuck around.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that GW has once again fucked up their lore?
I don't believe that there are no wolves on Fenris. I do believe that there were actually Fenrisian wolves.
Yeah, they were people.
No, I don't believe that.
The
I
wolves
don't
were
believe
people.
The whole time.
Even if the wolves aren't native, then I think the wolves were brought.
They
and
were
placed
brought.
there. No, but I
by
don't think
people
they were ever
who
human.
By
were
the
human. They turned themselves into wolves after. It's
There's-
hard to understand.
There's rumors of it, but it's not one of those confirmed things that Games Workshop does.
pretty close.
Even in the one line where it's literally said once that there are no wolves on Fenris, like you can look at that line alone, but in the book, so this guy says it to a bunch of his students, and all the students laugh and they go ha ha ha, like they don't understand. They're just laughing along with their teacher. And one student puts his hand up and says, "Yeah, but what about the wolves on Fenris?" And this teacher goes, "Exactly." So what does that interaction mean? Is it literally a joke that there's no wolves on Fenris because they're viewed as family and blood and everything? Or are they actually all once human? Because even if they are human, they are now wolves, and now there are wolves
but
on
that's why
Fenris.
it's all
But
dumb,
that's why it's a
Eric.
joke. That's why people took that and they took it so literally. But when I read it, the context is that he's joking around. Like it's not a serious like I've done the genetic research and there's actually no wolves on Fenris. I don't know. Like I get a different image when I read that than all the meme lords out there.
I'm not even
Eric
talking about
hates
the
memes. He doesn't like them. Get out with your enjoyment of life. Stop it. There's only sadness in Eric's life,
Well,
and there's only anger in Christian's.
I think that it
Those are
really
the only allowed emotions.
it really makes the Space Wolves super dumb. Whereas as soon as you remove that aspect of it, a lot more about Space Wolves is way cooler now.
Yeah, just be Vikings.
Yeah, as soon as you remove that whole aspect of like there are no wolves on Fenris, which was initially said as a joke, like I think they're way. Read the goddamn passage.
Which book are you talking about?
It's in a passage
because it's
somewhere.
all over the heresy book, like repeated constantly.
Yeah, I think this is like the first mentioning of it.
Okay,
because it's
well,
an old
it's
book.
definitely hammered into reality.
Who
through-
says it all the time? Magnus also said it once.
A bunch of Space Wolves say it too.
Yeah,
Casper
it's
Hauser.
Space Wolf. It's their cult and tradition and their indoctrination.
So
They're
another
not
thing
scientists.
is the Canis Helix turns their hair
doesn't matter,
gray.
they know.
Their fangs
Dude,
grow
they don't.
even longer.
Oh my God.
Their skin becomes even
Go-
more
just go read the
leathery,
book here.
and in some rare
You
cases,
read the
their
book.
eyes turn yellow.
did.
It's not like you have.
I did.
I don't believe you.
I
for a
literally
heartbeat.
did. That's why it pisses me off so much.
I don't believe you.
Oh my God.
So much
I can
shit.
give
You're
it to
like,
you. It's-
so much shit. You're like, this I read it, and I'm like,
No.
yeah, you read a single line with no context.
No, I specify when that's the case, and I specify
No, you
when
don't.
I read
I have
the
to
material.
ask you.
No,
He sources when he finds it on Facebook.
it's true.
Sorry, I'm done. I gotta take my sweater off. Keep going.
Well, before I was so rudely interrupted by your two's degeneracy,
He just took his shirt off, not just a sweater. He's getting naked
Nice.
he has the Canis Helix for sure. Look how hairy and fucking gross he is. The hair turns gray, their fangs grow even longer,
As you
their
can see
skin
right here,
becomes
boys.
even more leathery, and in some rare cases, their eyes turn yellow. So that's fun. They're wolf humans.
So yeah, that's as they are Space Wolves, right? So
Yeah,
they
the older they
progressively
get,
get
yeah.
more and more wolf looking.
Yeah. There is, however, the Wolfen, and this is, like we said, the people who don't pass the test of Mordecai.
Mordecai, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are these the Wolfen or like the actual like wolves?
No, these are Wolfen.
Okay.
Yeah, so Wolfen are feral man-wolf hybrids created by an adverse reaction to the gene seed of the space wolves.
So they don't actually make like new wolves. They make Wolfen, which are very different.
Okay.
So
Hey, did you guys ever know that there are no wolves on Fenris?
You son of.
how many hands wide is one of those Fenrisian wolves? That's what I want.
Yeah.
Good question.
There has been there are Wolfen, and then there's the wolves on Fenris Wolfen as well. There's like the 13th Black Company who went into the warp and got super mutated.
Yeah, and that's beyond genetic mutation.
Yeah.
That's warp
Yeah.
mutation.
But I'm sure, if
corruption.
you took their gene seed and tried to make a new space marine,
You'd probably be pretty fucked.
you'd probably be pretty fucked. It's not recommended.
We don't normally recommend taking warp stuff and trying
Putting
to
it into your body.
I even draw
Unless
the line.
it's warp dust.
Then you want to put that right up your nose.
Yeah.
I even draw the line at just don't use space marine or space wolf gene seed. Like, let's just draw the line there.
Yeah, the
Just get rid
Inquisition
of
should have
it.
done
It's
something
pretty
about
mutated.
these guys.
Yeah, it's pretty
Long time
fucking
ago, the
bad.
Inquisition should have.
Maybe just like Russ was just so angry that they're like, let's keep it
away from that guy.
Yeah.
The dog of the Emperor.
So that's the space wolf's curse. They're fucking wolf people. Now we got the wolf brothers.
God damn it.
So the Canis Helix of the wolf brothers gene seed doesn't work properly, and it affects and mutates all the other gene seed to the point where it is no longer stable, swiftly destroying the chapter.
So they don't exist anymore.
No. The one interesting thing about Space Wolves is there's only one confirmed chapter of successors ever, and that's the Wolf Brothers, and they're destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That is
You
the
are
only
not
interesting thing about
a Space
Wolves.
Wolf successor chapter. You are not.
you're not. You can be rumored to be, but you're not. And
And you better not have the Canis
you
Helix.
better not fucking have the Canis Helix.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Wolfen for you.
No, no wolfing for
Just
you.
be one of the. I think it would be way more fun to be one of their lost companies. Just say like there was like a company founded in secret. We're very much still Space Wolves,
How
and
do
we
I
know
know?
Or just
where
do
we
something unique. You can still steal Viking culture and just
how
stamp
about
it
this?
onto your-
are. I'm just saying some
Like, you
people.
could be a
some people
Dorn
want.
successor
Some
and
people
then
like
like-
the wolf thing though.
But let
do
me
the
run
wolf
this
thing
idea
too.
past you. Patera squirrels.
the Patera Squirrels chapter.
For generations, we are a cute and cuddly animal, but then the moon hits just right. No, there are some people who enjoy like becoming the wolf. And outside
And
of
just
the
play
Space
Space
Wolf
Wolves.
chapter, it kind of loses its like power and luster, you know. But
Sure.
so-
To me, it's
you
the
can.
Viking thing.
There's other, yeah, and to you that's how you would do it. But other people like the wolf. But if you're gonna do it, like there's no successors,
If you're going to be playing Space
be a
Wolves,
space wolf.
No, I was going to say make sure you will wear a wolf shirt that's howling at the moon.
The 3 moon shirt.
Yeah.
The 3 wolf shirt.
One man wolf pack.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we're past that.
Yeah,
Flame
we're
Falcons.
done. Space wolves.
Whew.
We'll never talk about
We
them again.
we never have to talk about them again. The Flame Falcons are up next. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, so the flame falcons suffer from mutations in their gene seed, and in this case, it results in their tendency to spontaneously burst into flame during combat. Oddly enough, this does not harm the Space Marines at all, only their foes,
So fucking wild.
which is very cool.
Yeah.
And what gene seed attributes to this?
So there's two theories on how this would work. The first answer is obviously warp fuckery.
Yeah, like is
They
there some
send
kind of warp thing affecting all of their genetic code to where the point where they just burn into flame?
Yeah.
Versus-
The other one is a mutated mucinoid could potentially secrete a flammable substance that gets ignited while being still thick enough to protect the Astartes himself. So like the top layer of that mucinoid.
Yeah, it's like
is
when
flammable and it burns.
in movies they put that like burning gel on themselves that
Yeah.
protects like the actor while they set themselves
Exactly,
on fire.
very much like that.
Huh.
Yeah, I thought that
Was
was
that your
very
idea,
cool.
or did that come from somewhere?
I read it from somewhere.
Oh, yeah, because that
As
actually,
like a theory.
that's totally
that's a
practical.
theory.
It's a
That's
theory,
not,
yeah.
That's not
Sure,
even a GW
but that
theory.
actually like makes sense to
Yeah.
me versus just having warp fire.
Warp fuckery is just the dumb,
The
easy,
default excuse,
Yeah. Like if I don't want to explain something, it sounds too difficult.
warp did it.
It was warp.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also really like the mucranoid explanation of it.
Sadly, the Grey Knights did not, and they wiped out this chapter.
That's right.
So while you
makes
were a fan,
That sounds about right. Yeah, a little warp shit.
yeah,
Maybe it was warp related then.
It could very well could have been.
Because that
Yeah.
points back to yeah,
Yeah, maybe they
this-
were all being possessed or something, right?
or just having that outward expression of warp powers. Like, nope, can't have that.
yeah.
well, Grey Knights normally only care about demons.
Sure,
But they're like, yes, I get what you're saying.
there's
Like,
potential there.
yeah,
for demons.
of course, yeah.
Yeah. This one just opens up so much in my mind of like your own flaws you could come up with.
The Flame Falcons?
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah, like
Like
it just
I was so
it's-
sick of seeing like their skin is different and their
Yeah.
eyes are different. No, you literally fucking burst into flame.
Yeah, or
because
like-
of a genetic flaw.
or like the bone dragons, you
Yeah.
know? Like it's such a crazy thing that you can come up with some pretty wild deviant.
That was an interesting thing
I
that
love
I
demons.
kind of came to realization about this is that not only are like lesser functioning organs a mutation, but also over functioning organs are a mutation.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you could effectively be like, my Space Marines are 10 feet tall.
Yeah, well, let's jump into the Sons of Antinous because
Antaeus,
yeah, I don't know if you were preluding
I
to
did
this.
not.
Okay.
No.
Well, it is unknown exactly what went wrong, if anything, in the normal creation. What is known is that they are extremely durable and resistant to pain, capable of withstanding damage, and that would normally kill a Marine. They are also taller and stronger than your
Okay,
standard
perfect.
Marine.
Yeah.
So, and this is most likely due to an overacted osmodula or biscopia.
Yeah, absolutely. And you might even need like a better hemastamin, like for blood flow in that
Yeah.
thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, it's cool to think of. You can actually very easily create unique story and Marines.
Yeah.
Without including any kind of warp fuckery in it, because the
Yeah.
more genetic flaw that you have, I think is better. But I also like, what would be a drawback to being like such a large Marine? Like maybe your war gear isn't as great because
You can't fit into all.
yeah,
the good
you can't
stuff,
fit to
yeah.
like the standard fitting
Doors
ones.
are hard.
What'd you say?
When you're chasing down like when you're chasing someone down and they go down like a hallway. Shit, I can't fit.
Well, no, I more mean like the STCs for creating larger power armor. Maybe those are very rare,
Yeah.
right? So like if your armor
Yeah,
gets,
everything needs to be custom now.
yeah, if your armor gets like broken or whatever, like you might be fucked. So maybe their armor like has a lot of plates and like studs all over it.
Yeah,
or,
like stuff stitched together if they can.
yeah, maybe like they never wear helmets or whatever. Maybe they all have like
Hey,
disfigurements.
that's not a flaw.
Or, well, it's just like their helmets never fit or they have weird bone deformation.
Just ask all the problems that Peter has with life and try to implement
What is it
into
like
40K.
being 6'7"? Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah.
I like learning about this because it's like that's another genetic level
Yeah.
of flavor you can add to your own Marines,
Yeah.
unless they're Grey Knights.
And the final one we're going to talk about, I'm sure there's so many more that we did not talk about.
Absolutely.
But those are definitely all the ones that I could find that were like really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's tons that are just like, these guys have 6 toes. I don't fucking know.
Makes them able to.
That's
grip
just a
things
normal.
better.
It's just normal human thing to have 6 toes. That's not even a Space Marine genetic trait. Some even have extra arms, and that's normal.
My entire
That's right.
chapter is mutated to become gingers. Mutated.
You son of a bitch. Better be from Dorne.
They are not.
So
What
the
are they
soul
from?
drinkers.
Raven Guard.
mama.
So they're pale skin. Go on.
Sorry, Mark. Soul drinkers.
Soul drinkers. They possess an overactive homophagia organ. This results in the information gained by consuming an enemy's flesh being delivered in a manner that is simultaneously more intense but less precise.
So do they like experience their life, or what's the difference here?
I would imagine like where a normal Space Marine like eats it and then it's like he can like shift through it. This one, it's like a ritual. Like it's like doing shrooms or something.
Okay,
you know,
so
like,
you
it's-
actually experience,
Like you were
and maybe
there.
you have
Yeah.
no choice.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose. Like you
Yeah.
just get thrown into like an
exactly. Like
experience.
this is not something that you can just casually do. I imagine this is more of like a ceremony.
I see,
I have
yeah.
not read any of the Soul Drinker books, and I don't know if it comes up in there.
These are renegade Marines.
They're destroyed at this point.
Oh, okay.
But yes, they were declared renegade, and their chapter master has like spider legs, but that's warp fuckery more so than genetic deviance.
Yes, spider legs.
Yeah, Carcharodon. I
Well,
think
it's
his
like
name is.
Darth Maul.
Yes, but his are biological. Darth Maul's are mechanical.
Sorry, this guy's our biological spider.
Yeah.
legs?
Here's a
Yes,
picture,
like he
so-
grew legs that were spiders.
Sarpedon. Sarpedon.
That was close.
Yeah, that is pretty close. That's pretty interesting to have
Uh-huh.
biological spider legs.
I don't like. Oh.
Yeah, that's.
Oh.
I can pretty much see why that would be
that's
killed.
destroyed as heretic.
That's
Yep.
a heretic right there.
I can pretty much
Yep.
guarantee I would do the same thing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
So that is one thing. If you are doing mutations, don't go too far. Otherwise,
Otherwise, you get destroyed.
you get destroyed. Yeah. So, yeah,
Those
that's
are
them.
but those are major mutations.
Those
right?
are
We've
major
talked about that
mutations.
before.
Yeah, you can get away with minor ones, but those are majors. So one thing that is often like misconceptualized, misunderstood, and Fantasy Fight games really played into why this happened. Is people often associate like a Space Marine's personality or their quirks as
or
something,
their beliefs,
their beliefs,
Or their culture
their culture,
their battle tactics.
yeah,
as being genetic.
as being genetic when it is not. You can change it. You can very easily change it.
You can be descendant from the White Scars and absolutely have a chapter that is devoted purely to siege warfare.
Exactly. And they personality-wise, maybe they're not feral savages, you know?
Maybe they're very cultured and they
Exactly.
drew inspiration
the white
from
scores
the,
are actually pretty cultured.
They have
That's
their
their
own
whole
culture,
gimmick is that
yeah.
they're actually very intelligent.
Yes.
And everyone sees them as
Yes.
Yeah. and
savages.
Can's always underestimated because of it. Yes.
I'm just saying bad example, but yes, your point is true. Right? Not every Black Templar necessarily is a rage beast. Necessarily,
Every Black Templar?
not necessarily.
Yes.
not for
But-
genetic reasons.
No, but it's not. You're right. Every single one is like a rage beast and a righteous being, but it has nothing
they're
to do.
culturally indoctrinated.
Exactly. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with their because the Imperial Fists aren't like that.
Yeah. No,
and that's
exactly.
the difference is that
Okay.
you have two people from the same.
That was
gene
almost
seed.
kind of a bad example too, because the Imperial Fist one, Dorn specifically separated out people based on their personalities.
That's
into the
what
new
we're trying to say
chapters.
though is that there are traits that people think are carried through genetics that
Yes.
are not. They
Yeah.
are purely either you personally or your indoctrination or
Yeah.
your culture. And this is where we're trying to say like saying like my chapter does this because of their gene seed
Yeah.
might actually not be true or real in any
Yeah.
manner because it might have nothing to do with their genetic code.
So, like, even when we created the Liber Malleus chapter, we got a lot of flack. Like, oh, you chose Ultramarines. It's like, it literally doesn't matter. There is it has
No.
no effect on anything
And
that
it would-
our chapter does.
And it would make like most 50% of all chapters are founded out of
Yeah.
the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Like, what are we supposed to say? Like, we're salamanders. Like, Literally, you have 0 chances of being a successor to the Salamander chapter.
Yeah.
Like, it's so low compared to Ultramarines. It's the highest point. Like, and because we didn't want to, you don't want to try and make it special snowflake. We're just like, what are the
Try
chances?
to do what's the standard.
The highest chances are that we would be
Ultramarine
chapters. And then you can pick your culture, you pick your indoctrination. How does your chapter act? How do they view things? That has nothing to do with their gene sire.
Yeah. So when you're doing your own chapters, really, like, it doesn't matter unless you're doing Blood Angels.
Yeah.
Or really, they're the only one. Because even so you do Imperial Fist Successor. Yeah, you don't have the
Fetchers or the Suzanne.
But really, even if you're like a third founding chapter, you might have it.
It's
so
very
it doesn't
possible
really
you
matter.
could. Yeah.
I think people think too highly of where they come from.
Like, and it's I think it is important to, because there is like an honor that comes from it.
And you could like the cultural aspects, or like the fact
so
that
maybe I
you
worded
revere
that,
Dorn.
But you don't have to follow the culture of your gene.
Exactly.
You don't have to.
Like you said, you could be siege crafting White Scar successors.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And that's totally fine.
In fact, I would prefer that than having just
White Scar is on
you're literally just a replication of White Scars. You just
so why
paint it
did
a
you
little
just do
differently.
White Scars then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and same too, like you said, I think the personality is the other one. Because, like, oh, you're a Blood Angel successor? Oh, you must be into close combat, or must be, you must be.
You don't have to at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So. Like, you must love using, like, jump assault axe. Like, no, we actually despise that.
I'm Iron Hand, so I must like winning.
Yeah, or I'm Iron Hand's successor, so I must love cutting off limbs and putting on bionic limbs. Yeah. That's not true at all. That's purely cult of that chapter.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the genetic code.
Yeah. Now, you could replicate that, but it would be strictly cultural.
But yes, of course, you're literally following the cult, and you're making a decision to do that. You're not a slave to the genetic. Whereas Black Rage, you are a slave to that.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
I kind of spaced out when you guys were talking about Blood Angels. Did you mention that Did you mention that the Blood Rage,
Black Rage?
No, the other one,
the Red Thirst.
The Red Thirst. What? I was confused with you. Either way, they were around before Sanguinicius.
Yeah, the Red Thirst existed before Sanguinius.
Yes, okay.
But there was a battle of Cygnus Prima or whatever, where
Prime.
Not everyone was affected by the Red.
Yes,
Red Thirst,
they would
but
put them
after
down
this battle.
secretly.
After this battle, every single
widespread.
one was affected by the Red Thirst, and it is also a psychic thing. It's not a genetic.
I just wanted to make sure someone talked about it.
No, we didn't. We didn't actually mention that at all.
Oh, okay. So. Yeah. Well, then good. Now you did.
Perfect. But yeah, there is a very, very big
complete.
difference between your genetic heritage and the culture your chapter chooses to adopt.
Yeah. I got some numbers and some tables and stuff if we want to go through them.
Yeah. Lay it on me.
Okay, so this table is pretty interesting. I don't know how accurate it is.
Sure. Where's it from?
Fantasy Flight Games. And I just talk shit about them as well. But also, I think they did do a reasonable job in it. And mostly the whole reason that they did their whole thing that I don't like is for gameplay mechanics. So
for RPGs.
For RPGs.
That's right.
Yeah. So my complaint against them, it's like complaining about, why aren't my Space Marines on tabletop? Like,
why don't they hit on twos, all of them?
Yeah, well, it's game mechanics. It's not really comparable. But so here's some chapter successor rates. So like we said, the chance that you're an Ultramarine successor is 1 in 50. Being a Blood Angel is 5% or 15%. Being a Dark Angel is 10% chance. Being an unknown, possibly a traitor, is 5%. I lean more heavily onto just the unknown
aspect. And you just don't know where you're from.
Imperial Fists have a 5%. White Scars have a 5%. Raven Guard have a 4%. Iron Hands have a 4%. Then Space Wolves have a 1%, and Salamanders have a 1%.
See that? And obviously it is Fantasy Flight Games, but they weren't that bad.
I liked a lot of their lore. Like,
a lot of what Fantasy Flight did was very good
and very fleshed out.
Yeah, and very well thought out.
Yeah.
Like, this represents a very well thought out thing. Like, Dark Angels have one of the most pure gene seed with the lowest corruption rates out there, and yet only 10%, was it? Of all
so
chapters?
that was the next one I want to go through, the next table.
Because it makes sense, because Ultramarines have a pure gene seed, and they have a low corruption rates, and they're also like the poster boys of the Imperium, right? Like, they have their like 500 worlds, right? That they rule over. Like, how many chapters are they just founding to protect these worlds?
And they just have the numbers, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But Dark Angels, nobody wants to make successors because Dark Angels, like,
Dark Angels themselves don't want to make successors.
They make them swear to the Dark Angel chapter. So the Administratum, they're like, we don't risk that. We don't want chapters.
many.
We don't want chapters swearing fealty to other chapters and creating a legion, right? Like, so their numbers are very well thought out, I think.
Yeah. So the next table is how likely a gene seed is to suffer mutation. Now, a disclaimer on this one is
I kind of wrestled with this.
Yeah,
one,
like there's an acceptable amount of
mutation,
and some of them are like salamanders. I'll let you know they have a 90% mutation rate. Now that doesn't mean that like 90% of all gene seed they make is bad gene seed. It just means 90% of them suffer from that
flaw,
that overactive black skin.
We think that's the mutation they're referring to because that's the only way we could rationalize it.
So then does that also mean that there are salamanders that don't have
absolutely?
That mutation?
Yeah, maybe they weren't on the planet ever. Like we don't know if,
or maybe just the flaw says that. Like there is literally a flaw that says the fucking Melon chromic gland actually functions normally. Do they just get rid of that, or would they'd still use it?
Yeah. So these numbers, have kind of two meanings to them. Yeah, one is the chance that they're actually going to get affected, but
and then what is also being affected.
Yeah. So Ultramarines have a 10% chance. Blood Angels have a 50% chance. So in that one, all Blood Angels suffer from the Black Rage. So they're not talking about that. They're
talking about actual flaws that are from one iteration of gene seed to the next.
That now this gene seed can no longer be used.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
or it's like, we'll put it in you, but we're not going to grow more out of you because your Betcher and your Suzanne and your Hemistamen are fucked up.
And so that's something else that should be brought up is on an individual level, you could have your own genetic flaws that aren't
from the
chapter related.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially with the Blood Angels where they draw from literal mutants. Yeah. So Dark Angels have a 10% chance. Imperial Fists have a 35% chance of flaw. White Scars have a 20. Raven Guard have a 25. Iron Hands have a 20. Salamanders have a 90. And Space Wolves have a 75%. So once again, like some of those numbers refer to like obviously all Space Wolves suffer from
the Canis Helix, the canines, the skin, the hair, right? But then there's also other mutations that might arise. Like what happens if the canines grow so long they start to pierce your own jaw, right?
Yeah.
That's
your own brain.
That's an overactive one, right?
And
so that would be a mutation that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So there is like. Yeah, I don't know. There, you need to understand that there is a difference between your genetic history and the culture your chapter chooses to adopt.
Yeah.
And that many things that you write about, while you might assume they are genetically imprinted in you, there's literally only the two that we found, and it was just the Space Wolves and the Blood Angels that had something that carried beyond just flaws.
Yeah. This Fantasy Flight Games also has a table. I won't go over this one because it's not as important, but it has a table saying it lists a bunch of the gene seed. It lists 11 of them and the chance of you having lost that one.
Interesting.
So even they kind of have a similar idea of us of which ones are essential. Like they don't have secondary heart that you can lose and still create a new.
Black Carapace isn't on there either, is it?
Nope, it's not.
Yeah. Because again, you need that.
Yeah, it's very important to have a Black Carapace.
Exactly.
So they have to know that we come to the same conclusion without us even looking at that.
Yeah. So they have percentage. So like I'm on right now Space Marine chapter creation tables on 1D4chan, and it's really helpful for going through like and fleshing out some of these ideas and giving you more ideas on how you want to make your own Space Marine chapter.
Yeah, make it real, make it alive,
randomize
or randomize it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like if you're doing like if you do roll like a lost mutation or whatever, a lost trait, roll for it. Like.
Yeah,
because like you have full control over it. Yeah, like it could be very cool.
Yeah, imagine like now. Then you think about, would this affect the culture of my chapter? Would this affect the rituals that my chapter goes through?
Yeah. This whole table is very cool. Like they have like
Fantasy Flight did a good job.
Oh yeah. They have like whole like what's your home world like? Are you fleet based? And it gives you percentage chances. And I think a lot of these percentage chances can really even just play into like how many fleet based chapters are there actually? Well, according to Fantasy Flight Game, there's 10%. But, what does that really mean? Who knows? Hard to say.
Well, it means there's 100 fleet-based chapters.
Well, no, yes.
Got him.
How canon can it really be considered?
No, for sure. Yeah. Can you take that as an absolute?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's it for loyalist chapters and their gene seed.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit, and this is going to be more of an open discussion. Let's talk about Heretic Astartes and how we think, what's the difference between how they view the purity of a gene seed, but also the corruption and mutation of a gene seed, chimeric gene seeds, genetic inheritances of gene seed, and how they can affect from one gene seed to another without actually being mutated on a genetic level. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So the big interesting thing is, as far as we know, every Traitor Legion, every Heretic Astartes has a full complement of gene seed.
none of them have
They're-
actually lost any organs
as far as we know.
of the original, like the Death Guard. The Death
Yeah.
Guard, all their organs still function.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a chaos specific thing, but I just remembered on the aesthetic changes of Gene C2. Sometimes they have complete
Did you read this book? Where's your source?
many books there, actually. The entire Black Library.
Okay.
Some
I'm thinking he grew out the entire Black Library.
yeah, some genetic
James,
change-
you're still here.
Oh,
My God.
I was always here.
in your hearts and in your minds. No, but on the aesthetic changes for Blood Angels specifically, I just kind of remembered is that they do have a tendency to have blonde hair, which is strictly aesthetic, but it is genetic. And same with the Emperor's Children tend to have like white hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raven Guard tend to have black. Like,
Yeah. Now it doesn't
But
mean
that's
all
just-
of them do, but it's a
It's a Melon
heightened-
chromic.
Right, exactly. But it's still like it wasn't mentioned, so I'm just bringing it up.
Oh,
now.
sure,
Some people's facial features take on the visage of their Primarchs too after they have the gene seed implanted in them.
Yeah.
So that their face is actually almost like mirror the features of their Primarch.
I think it's a lot harder to nail down that flaw, though. It's
It's
also
I'm not even describing it as a
consistent.
flaw. I'm just
Yeah.
saying
it's a mutation.
It's a mutation that
Yes.
arises from the genetic manipulation of becoming a Space Marine.
Yeah, having someone else's DNA implanted
so-
in you, it affects everyone a little differently.
Right, exactly. So if you're making like my point is if you're making like an Emperor's Children, like there's a chance.
warband, yeah.
Yeah, they'd have white hair, right?
Yeah.
Again, not all, doesn't have to, but it can.
For sure. Yeah. All right. So Heretic Astartes.
Yes. I just remembered because you talk about Emperor's Children.
Sure. Yeah. So we said before that Heretic Astartes, oddly enough, seem to have a very pure gene seed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they aren't mutated to shit.
Yeah.
Like, I bet there's very few Chaos Space Marines out there that have not experienced some level of mutation in their gene seed. Whereas Ultramarines, who also have a full complement of organs, will almost always have a fully working set of gene seed.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Both of them are full complements, but one is mutated to fuck, and one has no mutations or flaws in it at all. And that's the difference.
Yeah. And the other big thing is like they're far more likely to do chimeric gene seed too. So even if there is like a missing one, because like you can have the whole,
it can mutate to death.
yeah, you can
right?
still have the full complement, and then 1 out of every 1,000 is missing a gene seed or one organ.
Yeah, is
And
missing
then
the
they're just like,
Laramin's
yeah,
organ.
and then they're just like, we're just chimeric gene seed.
They
this
have
one.
no problem pulling in
Yeah.
other people's. Even if it's
Exactly.
fucking with you and it's like going to kill you, they don't care.
Yeah.
And also just purely as a resource matter, right? Like they just killed a bunch of Imperial Fists. All right, loot their gene seed. We're going to recycle this.
Yeah,
and use it.
especially
quite
like
often.
Black Legion. Other ones, like I don't think Emperor's Children do that as much, or Death Guard. I don't think they're willing to do chimeric.
I think there's a practical component of it.
There is, there
and then
definitely is.
there is like a cultural, like ideological, like no, we are purely Iron Warriors and we will only use
I
our own
know
stuff.
Black Legion is
That was a
very
bad
well,
example
Black
also,
Legion is
because
very well known
for
for
just
harvesting any
whatever they
kind
can.
of gene
But
seed.
isn't Black Legion isn't necessarily even there?
They're
It's not really a chapter, right? It's just a
like
bunch
they're
of
even
chapters thrown
severing their
together.
past
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So they
So
see
they're not-
themselves.
they're
as
not
You can
Luna
become
wolves.
a Black Legion.
Yes, you can
Marine.
just join the Black Legion, where you can't. Can you just join the Death Guard?
No,
I don't think you can.
I think they wouldn't.
You can
be
become a
opposed,
plague
though.
marine.
Yeah, but that's not Death Guard.
I know.
Right, but
know.
would like if you were, say you were an Ultramarine, and whatever reason you got touched by Nurgle, and you
I
went
think-
to the Death Guard, and you're like, hey, I want to join you guys.
I don't
so
think
no,
so. I don't think
here's
so.
the thing. So
You're not Death Guard. Then.
Yeah.
very few of
But
the
you-
Legion.
Not genetically, but could you join as?
You are
Yeah.
not
So
Death
there's
Guard.
tons of war bands, right? Like very rarely is any of the lead trader legions actually in one place at one time and considered a full fucking thing, right? They're made up of hundreds of war bands. So yeah, you could have an Ultramarine join a Death Guard war band, but you're not a Death Guard.
But you're not a Death Guard.
But you're a part of the war band,
Of course.
But you're not
Sure,
considered a
of
Death
course.
Guard. But you're in the war band.
Yes, because the war bands consist of cultists as well.
Exactly.
Like, there's
Exactly.
many different things
Yeah,
that
and
make
there's
up war
demon
bands.
princes running
Sure,
around, and
sure.
there's
Well,
there's,
those were once Space Marines. So
Like I'm part of
Some
the
of them.
podcast, but
All
I'm
of
not
them.
in the podcast.
All of them.
Yeah, fuck.
All demon princes were once Space Marines.
No, that's not a thing.
No, that can't
get
be
out
true.
and fight.
There are literal.
Okay,
like,
bring out the
just
mud
regular
wrestling
humans
pit.
that
Yeah, that have
become
been
demon prince.
elevated.
Oh,
It even
sorry. I didn't mean
happens.
Space Marines. Mortals. All demon princes were at one point mortals. None of them are
Purely
demons.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what. Sorry.
Yeah, they're
correct.
all ascended human.
Yes.
Mortal.
Okay, whatever.
I
would
think
even
let's
say
leave it
human.
on that note where Eric was a dumb
Oh,
bitch. and
that was
wrong.
bad one, hey? Shit.
Thanks for
At least
listening
he caught
to the
himself.
pod. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to do another episode. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think we have
There's
to
no
for
really
Her-
need to talk about Heretic Astartes
Yeah.
gene seed because it's so all over the place.
Yeah.
You have
There's no-
so much freedom to do whatever the hell you want
Yeah.
with Chaos gene seed. You could say anything and someone would be like, well, fuck yeah, Chaos, right? Like, I guess. Right? You
Yeah.
want to, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I think it would be that you are not a Death Guard unless you have Death Guard gene seed.
I agree.
Exactly.
I don't
agree.
think you just sign up. You could
Well,
do that
what
with
if
Black
you
Legion.
identify as a Death Guard?
Well, that's a whole other can of shit I don't want to get into.
Get out. Get out.
No,
But
for sure.
You're
For sure.
you can join Black Legion and be a full Black Legionnaire.
Or you can even join like a Death Guard warband and even be a Plague Marine within the Death Guard warband, but you are still not a Death Guard.
Exactly.
But we can all agree that you can't be 1,000 Suns because
You can never be 1,000 Sun.
Not even 1,000 Suns can be 1,000.
That's right. Now
suns.
they're just some dusty boys.
That's the
And Dusty boys, sweep them up and put them in the bin.
Once again, James complains at gmail.com.
Thank God. I knew I just had to hold out and he would say something like that. Oh, man. But yeah, Heretic Astartes and Heretic's Gene Seed is a completely different ball game. There's
Yeah.
not really any, like, what we're trying to share is like a framework for you to like understand how Gene Seed within your army works and how to create story and like what the difference is between saying what your genetic heritage is versus what culture you have.
Yeah.
Whereas Chaos, it's really just whatever the hell you want goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you throw out all those things we talked about, just throw them out the window and do whatever the hell you want. Just make sure we know you're Chaos. And don't try and do that as a loyalist.
Yeah.
That's right. No chimeric gene seed in here for my loyalist boys.
He
No,
said,
sir.
having chimeric gene seed.
I don't have chimeric gene seed.
God.
My chapter is pure.
As the driven snow.
Who is your genetic father?
It would be Sanguinius,
Sanguinius
Yeah.
is your,
but like
So
I'm
do
not
you have the Black Rage and the Red Thirst?
Should.
you should.
You bloody well
yes,
should.
Yes, I would, but like I'm not gonna paint it up until they do like close combat primaries because I don't want to have like
No, you can even
intercessors
you can
with friggin'
leave the
Black
paint
Rage.
how it is. You can even leave your tactics and your culture as it is. No one says you have to follow what the Blood Angels do.
I would
Maybe you just
also
put them
suffer-
down right away.
You just
Yeah.
have to also suffer from the red thirst and the black phage. Yes, maybe you put them down.
Like
maybe you
the
kill them.
minute they show a sign.
in the actual lore of my chapter. That's like they would have Black Company
Okay, so
because
they,
I
they
love
would
that.
have one.
Yeah, but I just
Death
don't.
Company?
I haven't. Death Company. Sorry, yeah, that's what it is. I'm not gonna paint that up till they make close combat.
Oh,
That's all.
yeah.
Because that's
Very cool.
I don't want them to be like shooting. Because it bugs me. Some people painted. I think it was GW even painted
Yeah.
up Black Ray or Black Death Company. Sorry.
The red
Intercessors.
The Red
thirsty
Thirst, Black Rage,
Ragers.
Death Company.
Yeah, those guys, whatever the hell they are, they were painted up, but they're intercessors, so they'll have
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
guns. It's
And,
like,
and they all look so clean.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
Oh, my ammo pouches are.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
going-
not hold on.
Going back to that though, I don't totally hate that because you could use a bolt gun,
yes,
bolt
but
rifle. Right?
That doesn't
They're
speak
crazy.
to like
They're
an
insane.
berserker
They want to go
rage,
in
though.
and fight in the middle of combat. That's
Sure,
the way
but
they're
they
always
will
described.
shoot their way all the way up until
Sure,
close
but
combat,
if
and they'll
they're
beat
not
you to
armed-
death with their gun.
It's like, while I also see it as being a thing, I also think the aesthetic is so much better served when you're having chain swords and axes and hammers.
Yeah,
and-
that's
Like,
what
I mean,
that's what I'm waiting for.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I appreciate it way more when you're
it just
bloodthirsty.
I don't
melee
like it.
monster.
I didn't like it, and I don't want to spend my time painting up a whole nother 30 intercessors
You will do what GW tells
just
you to
so that, and then I have to do a whole nother 30 once they're like actually in
do. Released. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
weapons.
definitely agree with you.
You'll
on
be
that
waiting
one.
a while, James.
And GW loves to just keep stroking me with all those new Primaris models, so I don't know if I'll have to wait that long.
Yeah. Cool. Well, you have a chapter, don't you?
No.
Yeah, you do.
I
they
refute
call
any
them?
allegations about any kind of chapter.
Where was
The
your what's
soy
your chapter's
boys.
gene seed from?
The Simps.
Kristoff's bitch boys.
Where's your gene seed from?
I'll have to think on all this stuff.
Oh, you don't know.
Christian wants primary or chimeric gene seed. I know
I
he
don't
does.
want chimeric.
He
gene
want
seed.
no. Then he wants traitor guard gene seed. Or
No, he
traitor-
wants one of the missing
Oh.
too.
Yeah.
His is one of the
It's
missing.
all of the above. It's
all-
chimeric, missing, Kraos, gene seed. All right.
And ultramarine,
And
because they're
ultramarine.
perfect boys.
Exactly.
In all of this talk, there's one chapter that doesn't
Thanks
fit
for listening
in-
to the podcast. You don't need to stroke Eric's wiener here.
There's one chapter that doesn't fit in with most of this, and it's the Grey Knights.
Yeah, they don't fit in anymore. Period. They're,
Yeah, having their genetic code, their gene seed, confirmed as coming from the Emperor's genetic code really kind of throws their rules out
the window.
the door.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances that the Emperor's genetic code would ever mutate? It's 0.
I don't know.
Like, there's he's so
don't know about
protected. He's so protected on a psychic level.
He is, but I don't know. Like chance of mutation.
No, 'cause
No,
I
but
mean,
I
doesn't
agree.
need-
No,
Hold
because
on, because even
his-
custodians are pretty perfect.
That's right, and he used the same alchemic genetic craft that works on him that gives him a psychic protection.
No, I'm so
into
my
the-
only thing is I'm not a geneticist, but I know over 10,000 years your genes will mutate.
unless there's
Unless they're
warp fuckery.
self-correcting. Yeah, like it
Warp
could be
fuckery.
magic.
That's what I'm saying. The Grey Knights specifically have a warp fuckery in a protective bubble around them, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I could, if they came out and they were like, yeah, it has the same mutation rate as
sure.
Ultramarines,
I
I would
would-
be like, sure. But if
I
they
wouldn't
also
pull a
said,
Christian and freak out either way.
No.
I would be.
But if they also said, like, hey, if they also said there's no chance of it corrupting because of the Emperor's protection, I would also be like, all right, I could see it either way.
Yeah.
Whatever way you confirm it, it wouldn't
Yeah.
throw me under the bus. But yes,
What if
there's-
it was more? Like, what if it was as much as the
I would
as
be.
the
I
Salamanders?
would have to see what like their reasoning is because and
because
there's
Grey Knights are dumb
Because
bitches.
Okay.
fuck you.
okay.
That's what GW does every time I've read any of them.
Why does
Rebecca.
GW insist about ramming? Anyways,
Every codex ends in that. Every book ends
Hey,
in
Mark, by the way, fuck you.
yeah,
But
It's
the core from
subtext,
Warhammer?
but it's there.
yeah. Grey Knights don't follow everything else.
Yeah.
One thing too that I just realized: psychic power and genetics.
The Emperor's is the only one where it's like a genetic legacy. There's no
So,
other example.
There's also the Blood Ravens where now who knows, but they seem to have a higher amount of psychers in their chapter.
So is that recruitment or is
Whether-
that genetic?
Yeah, hard to say whether.
well,
but
all the recruits of Grey Knights are also psychic. Literally, every single one is a psychic.
Yes, that's
being.
done intentionally.
Yes.
So who's to say whether the Blood Angels is through recruitment or through genetic
Okay,
legacy?
the only example that I
Ravens? Blood
have,
Ravens, sorry, yeah.
the only example I have of that is when the Knights Errant were chosen to become Grey Knights. There was one Knights Errant that is confirmed as not being a psyker
and then
at all, and then when he's comes back, Janus, he becomes the chapter master. Now he is, or the Grandmaster. Now he is a very powerful and potent psyker.
We are not talking about Grey Knights, Eric. Grey Knights are already established as the exception.
That's what I'm saying. This is the only one where I see a genetic
Connection.
lineage of
Psychic
gene
power.
seed.
Right. What about the Thousand Sons too? Because even in the Legion days, the Thousand Sons were all psychic.
yeah, and
Not all the ones from Terra, but all the ones from Prospero were.
Were they? Weren't they?
No, not all the ones from Terra.
Is that ever distinctly.
I'm
I'm
very
open.
confident.
I'm open to being wrong. I'm not saying it is or isn't. Either way, I'm just questioning whether or not you can make.
confident. But now I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Send all your complaints to Eric is a dumb bitch.
No, you can send those to
gmail.com.
James too. James will suffer
That's still
everyone's
James.
mistakes.
We got a lot of emails now. Maybe you just send it all back to lorehammerpodcast@gmail.com and I'll sort it out
Sift
from
through
there.
it.
Yeah.
Just spread them around. Oh, this is a complaint for you, James. Yes. Welcome. That'll ruin my
But it's about
Monday for
something
me.
that-
Perfect.
It's about something that Christian said though. But James, you're getting the blame for it.
It's your turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric is so intently reading.
I'm just trying to read really quick.
Blood Ravens.
I don't know, Mark. What do you think? It's like a potential. Is that
Yeah,
genetic
does it come
or is
from
it-
the
or is-
pool, the stock, or do you think it follows the gene seed?
And so it is written, and so I shall decree that it does in fact come from the gene seed.
You
Because
think so?
it's rumored that they come from Thousand Suns gene seed.
Oh, okay.
I think they kiboshed that. I think they confirmed that they are not.
Maybe they have recently. Who gives a fuck? It's a weird chapter anyways.
This guy, he cares so much and yet cares so little at the same time.
I just have no strong convictions about it. I'm very easily bought, swayed,
Sold.
sold, whatever.
Cool. All
Eric,
right.
We did
James,
it.
what do you
We
think?
did it. I think I would also agree it's probably that there's some connection
Really?
to gene seed.
Okay, I definitely am on the opposite end. I don't think there's a genetic. I don't think there's a psychic
Are you
genetic legacy.
Going against Mark's decree?
Yikes!
Wait. Don't worry. He can be easily swayed. You just don't have to.
Would you like cheeseburger?
Sure. What do we
Okay, perfect. Little pizza. He likes. Okay, woo. Safe one more day. Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but I thought
If any of the listeners know, just send us an email or a message. Address.
you better fucking source
to
it.
Yeah,
me,
you
though.
can send this one to I don't give a fuck at gmail.com.
Send it to Games Workshop.
Yeah, it'll get more attention there. We appreciate your question, but we don't give a fuck about answering it.
Yikes! It's maybe
I
I
generally
am wrong.
enjoy talking to everybody. Just this is jokes. Some people don't know jokes.
Some people are easily offended.
Easily.
Those
offended.
people are James and myself.
Why do you include me in that?
Why are you offended
Your
by me
whole
including
Monday
you
was
in that?
ruined.
All right, Eric. I don't think you're gonna find it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's such a big page. Anyways,
thanks for listening. Donate
Yeah.
to our Patreon if you like what we're doing. Buck a month goes a long way.
back a month.
No,
we need
fuck.
a jingle jangle.
Just for $1 a month, you too can be
That's right. Yeah.
jingle jangled.
Perfect. I mean, we'll get a professional, but thanks, Mark, for
Ju-
good
it's a
energy you're bringing.
It's
Good
a
energy.
jumping off point for sure.
Yeah. It's our storyboard. Like we're just let's pin it. We'll pin it on the board. We'll come back to it. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye bye.
No goodbye.
Christian,
I don't-
rude man.
I never sign
That was
off.
rude. Yeah. I never leave. You can't make me.